Happy Friday. Thank you for joining us here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. Right across from me is producer Carlene Bragg.
It's Friday.
It is Friday. I'm excited. It's Friday. Oh. How did
that was
yeah,
it.
okay, that was pretty cool.
That
okay.
was it.
And to reach from the depths.
Your diaphragm.
It's so yeah, look, it's Friday. It's any weekend plans, Carlene?
I've got meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees. You know her well.
Okay.
I am dog sitting Roger, her beloved Roger. So I got Roger and Turkey. I'm probably going to go to the Whitewater Center a couple times. We've got the pass for the dog park.
The BFFs are together.
The BFFs. Best
Roger
friends.
And Turkey. Hey, look, it's a big weekend for a lot of folks.
What about you?
Okay, so I'm going out of town.
Okay.
Not far. My mom's birthday
That's
was
right,
yesterday.
your mom's birthday. Happy birthday.
So she's listening right now. So I'm going. Okay, this won't.
Is it a secret? Is it a surprise? Okay.
It's my mom's birthday this weekend.
Mom's
birthday this weekend.
Happy birthday, Mr.
Yeah. Anyway, I realized as I was saying this.
Don't let the secret
I'm trying to
out.
recover.
Don't let the secret out. Let's move on. Look outside.
Look outside. Let's look at. Oh, look! It is beautiful. I actually made a point to go outside right before the show. And it is warm outside.
Did it feel good?
It felt good, though. I like the warm weather. I love when the sun is out. I love when it's warm here in the Carolinas. It is fantastic. So tonight, night one. Actually, I'm looking at the Love and Life Music Festival. The Love and Life Music Festival is this weekend, along with the Strawberry Festival in Fort Mill, along with Kendrick Lamar and SZA in Uptown. Mm-hmm. But as far as Love and Life, there's a countdown on the website.
Oh.
And it says 28 minutes.
I think till the gates open.
Gates open.
I think the first act, because I looked it up earlier, is at 2. Gates open at 1.
First act is...
I can't remember off the top of my head, so sorry.
I keep seeing Gwen Stefani at 9:30 p.m.
Yep.
So
she's the biggie tonight.
So I'm guessing these are just right here on the lineup. It's just
we've got Motherfolk at 2.
2. Okay.
On the Miller Lite stage.
Okay, I'm looking. Okay, so it's okay. I'm thinking that the earliest time is going to be on top, and I'm looking at. Okay, I was like, why? Okay, sorry guys, it's Friday.
It's Friday.
But yeah, Motherfolk at 2.
Yep.
Dog Park at 3,
Yep.
and then Evan Honer at 4.
Yep.
Third Eye Blind at 5.
Yep.
Flip Turn at 6:15. Benson Boone 8 o'clock.
And that's just a one stage.
That's just one stage.
There's 4 different stages.
Yeah. Actually, the earliest one. Oh no. Okay. Never mind. No, I got it right. We got it right.
We have a link to our website with
we have a link.
all the whole
Look, I'm
schedule.
reading this in real time, and even though I've looked at this, it's really real because today is
the day.
So, again, if a lot of people are going to be in town for that Strawberry Festival, I don't want to downplay the Strawberry Festival because it's a big deal in Fort Mill.
Have you've been?
I've been. It's been a while, but I've been really cool. A lot of people go. You get everything under the sun when it comes to strawberries.
Anything strawberry, you get it. Deep fried strawberries, which I've had. They're delicious.
Really?
Yeah, you know me. Anything fried, I'll take it.
Pique my interest.
It's really good.
Strawberries, okay. That's one of my favorite fruits.
It's really, really good. And they have everything you could want. Or just, if you want just a whole thing of strawberries. You want a big old thing of strawberries.
I like the.
I know. Make your way down to Fort Mill.
I might have to make my way.
Or I could go get some for you. You got to be with your mom.
Okay. Yep. You know what? That will work. Okay, we'll figure something out. But I say all this to say a lot of eyes in the sky because we are weather alert this weekend and tomorrow. So yes, we actually have the forecast, a weather vlog from Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich, because everything you need to know as far as this weekend, how to plan your weekend, if you're going to the festival, Kendrick Lamar show, Strawberry Festival. Stay right here and listen to this breakdown. Here's Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich.
Hey everybody, Chief Meteorologist Brad Petovich here. Big weekend of outdoor activities and we have active weather. But here's the thing, I'm going to lay out everything. I want you to be weather aware and prepared for storms, but also I want you to know there's nothing in the forecast that is going to wash out the entire weekend or have you cancel plans completely. We're in that summer pattern right now. Pop-up storms, scattered storms that last 30, 40 minutes at a time, and then they're done. So this is not one of those things where it's a giant storm system that takes over the whole area all day long. So I just want to lay that out there because oftentimes I see people say, should I cancel my plans for a 40, 50, 60% chance of rain? When that chance of rain is just telling you the chance of a pop-up storm at some point during the day. So just want to lay that out there. We'll get into the details. Use this information to make your decisions accordingly. So what's happening today? Really not a lot. Today looks a lot like yesterday. We've got mostly sunny skies over us. We are watching a cluster of showers to the west, but actually this is the bigger deal back here. I'm going to turn on the severe thunderstorm warnings because we've got some warnings with that system and likely going to see a severe thunderstorm watch or tornado watch over in Tennessee. This is what we're watching for tonight. Will this cluster make it east? There's a lot of indications it will fall apart, but it's one of those things you can't write it off. But when that arrives, that would be late tonight into the overnight hours. I'm going to turn off the satellite radar. We'll turn off all the watches and warnings, and we're going to show you the severe weather outlook today, which I don't necessarily agree with, and I'll just be straightforward there. Now, I agree with this to the west, but for us, you see this low risk, this is kind of a catch-all. In case those storms try to make a run at us tonight, we might see some gusty winds, but I actually don't think this is going to end up verifying today. So it's nothing to happen today. Tomorrow, the risk, again, for our area is generally low. Yeah, there's a low risk, it's a 5% chance, but severe weather is not a major concern. And when I say severe, large hail, tornadoes, and damaging winds. Can't rule it out. Again, 5% chance. The bigger issue is lightning. Lightning, lightning, lightning. There's no severe criteria for lightning, but lightning is an issue that we have to worry about because that is going to affect your outdoor plan. So let's get right to the forecast. All right, so let's dive into the forecast. I'm going to start with not futurecast, but the upper level pattern, because I want to show you how complicated the forecast is and why there is a lot of uncertainty. And there's been so much change to the forecast this week. We've had this upper trough coming in, and there's indications that it's going to split off and become what we call a cutoff low. You see this area in blue? This is a piece of energy that essentially breaks off from the jet stream and gets trapped. There's another one here, and we're basically getting this omega blocking configuration. The Greek letter omega, if you're familiar with that, that's what you're seeing right there. Whoops, I don't know why that happened. We'll delete that out of the way. But that Greek letter omega is showing up there. That is an indication of a pattern that's stagnant or not moving. And forecast guidance and modeling is really difficult with things that don't move and are stagnant. No matter how great AI is or forecasting technology, when things aren't moving, when you don't have numbers to calculate forward speeds and motion, the models tend to get freaked out a little bit. And that's actually a good indication. When you see that, that tells you we're in a stagnant or stalled pattern. You know, think about your GPS in your car. If your car is not moving and you put in a destination, it doesn't know when you're going to get there until it has some idea of a forward speed or motion or traffic patterns. In this case, in the atmosphere, when nothing's moving, it's hard to calculate when things are going to happen. So that's why you get a lot of uncertainty in this pattern. And again, this could be a bust forecast. You could end up with a ton of rain if this thing stalls over you, or it could stall a little further north and you get little to no rain. That's why there's so much huge fluctuations in the forecast. So just wanted to show you that in the upper levels because that explains a lot of what's happening with the wacky forecast this week. So let's get back to the forecast, futurecast of radar so you can plan. All right, so we'll go to the futurecast, and you honestly have to stay weather aware this weekend because this could change based on things with these storms. So right now, this is the futurecast as of 10 a.m. this morning. On Friday, we'll go through this afternoon. I'm going to stop this around 4 or 5 o'clock. Love and Live Music Festival's going on. People are getting in Uptown. People are getting out of work early. Big cluster of storms. This is what I'll be watching all day. What is this thing going to do tonight? For us, just like yesterday, yeah, there could be an isolated shower storm, but look how scattered and isolated they are. You're talking like 20, 30%. This is by 5:30. This is 6, 7. So Love and Life's going on this evening. Main acts are coming on. Big cluster of storms to the west. That's why that is like the thing I'm watching. You can see that to our west, right? That is what I'm watching, and likely that's going to come in overnight. So this is 8:16, 9, 10, 11. So we're getting past concert time. Oof, hopefully, fingers crossed, no issues tonight. And I really think 90% chance we're going to be fine tonight. We go into the overnight hours. Here comes that storm system from the west. You could see this is 1 o'clock in the morning. So we could have storms overnight tonight into early Saturday morning. This is 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. You could see that thing falling apart, but still heading our way. We go into Saturday morning. You wake up. This is 7:30 in the morning. Those storms that have moved through, the nice thing about having overnight storms, they tend to use up all the energy and stabilize things, at least temporarily. If the sun comes out Saturday for several hours, then we got to worry about another round. So we'll get to about the middle of the day. This is around 12:18 tomorrow, or Saturday afternoon, tomorrow afternoon. You see a couple isolated storms. I don't know how many we'll see because the atmosphere is going to be pretty worked over. It's all going to be about what this thing is doing. So I'm not 100% sure we're going to see anything, but just a heads up, we could see isolated storms in the afternoon Saturday. By the time we get to 3 o'clock, things start ramping back up. We see some scattered storms around the area. And again, this is just one indication where they are right now. They could be anywhere depending on the setup during the afternoon. That's the thing about pop-up storms. It's like looking at water boiling on your stove and trying to figure out where the bubbles are going to form at the bottom of the pot. You just don't know until this gets going. But we know there's going to be some around as we go into the afternoon. So this is 4 o'clock. You see those clustered storms. We get towards 5, 6. It becomes more scattered. It really does through time. The main line looks to be in the evening hours. I would say after 8 o'clock is probably our highest chance. But even here, a lot of the guidance is kind of uncertain. How much rain is there going to be? Is it going to be scattered? Is it going to be a big shield of rain? So it's kind of hard to say how much we're going to see with this. So I'll go back to Saturday. We go into the evening hours. The one thing I will tell you, that evening time frame, you see 5, 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow night, there's going to be rain somewhere in here. It's just a matter of where it sets up. And again, rain isn't necessarily the bad thing for these outdoor events. I know you don't want to get wet, but concerts are going to go on if it's raining. They will not go on if there's lightning. Lightning is the concern. That's why I say lightning, lightning, lightning. Just rain is not a big deal. Yeah, you need a poncho. It's not great maybe to sit in or stand in, but the concert's going to go on. If we get lightning, then it's a different story. Same story for the Fort Mill, Strawberry Festival. Rain, not a great thing there, but lightning and severe weather is a major concern for safety. So we go to about 9, 10 o'clock. Things are kind of waning a little bit here, and then the rain comes back. I do think Saturday night is going to be our wettest part of the weekend because by Sunday, there's a real good chance we could get what's called dry slotted. The actual upper low is here, the front is here, and dry air gets pushed in here. And that could really stabilize things for Sunday. So Sunday's looking up. If you had to ask me right now, the worst weather this weekend is going to happen Saturday evening. So plan accordingly. And as you're seeing in all this, it's not raining everywhere all day, right? I mean, today, no issues. Tonight, yeah, we have storms moving in. Saturday during the day, let's say I have a soccer game in the morning. My kids are playing at 11 a.m. Here's 11 a.m. There's some scattered storms around, but there's a lot of areas where nothing's happening. We go into the afternoon. My kids got a game at 4 o'clock. Yes, there's rain possibly somewhere around, but there's a lot of dry areas as well. I think we often focus on where the rain is, but notice there's a lot of areas where there isn't rain. And if your house needs water, you probably notice this more often than anybody. So just be wary of the overall picture. There's a lot going on across the entire region. But you could see at some point Saturday night, those chances ramp up. So we'll keep an eye on it. Stay weather aware Saturday for lightning. I have my radar up and running. We'll keep an eye on lightning threats for Uptown, for Kendrick Lamar, as well as Love and Life Music Festival. I will be posting on social media if there's lightning within 8 miles of the stadium or 6 miles of the festival. Those are the criteria we're using for the weekend. Stay safe, stay weather aware, and we'll have you covered.
And that's Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich with a look at your forecast for this weekend. Again, you want to stay weather aware. You want to be tapped into what's going on as far as the weather concerns, because it's a busy weekend here in the Charlotte area. Let me say busy weekend in the Carolinas.
Yeah.
It's, if you have to adjust. But we want you to be safe. want
Yeah.
you to be safe. And a good resource, follow our Weather Impact team on social media.
Yep.
All of them are really good at posting updates.
Make sure you have the app downloaded, it'll be push alert sent
Yeah.
to you. Yeah.
Make sure you have all the things
All the
WCNC
things.
Charlotte, because we're going to keep you updated when it comes to this forecast. Even Bob Durkin, the co-founder of Southern Entertainment that was putting on Love and Life, says, Brad is a trusted resource. We are a
Yes.
trusted resource, so we
Yes.
have that endorsement there. All right, so we want to shift gears now. So we are back on the Karen Reed trial today. This is a live look right now. Jennifer McCabe is back on the stand. She's a key prosecution witness. So the Karen Reed trial is back today after a day off. It didn't happen yesterday. So this is the third day of testimony for Jennifer McCabe. Again, if just to catch folks up, Karen Reed is charged with second-degree murder, manslaughter while operating a vehicle under the influence and leaving the scene. She's accused of hitting John O'Keefe, her Boston police officer boyfriend, with her SUV back in 2022. Again, this is Jennifer McCabe on the stand. Let's listen in.
I don't remember the specifics of what was said.
Your Honor, if we could, I would ask that we queue up Exhibit 4 for the jurors at runtime 420.
Okay.
Before we play this, I'm going to play just like a second of it and ask if you can hear the volume.
Okay.
We could, Mr. Wolf? Could you hear anything?
Oh, I can hear. Yes. Sorry.
Okay. I don't know how loud it's going to be, quite frankly.
Okay.
Ms. McCabe, will you please pay attention to the audio portion of this video as this is played? Could you hear that?
I heard something.
Could you hear my client? Did it sound like Ms. Reed?
It sounded like a female.
Did it sound like...
You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. Right now, you're watching the Karen Reed retrial. She is charged with second-degree murder, manslaughter, in the death of her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe. We're going to turn away from that. We want to go to a press conference that's happening live in the Metro Atlanta area. This is in most north of the Metro Atlanta area, Barrow County, where a soft lockdown happened this morning, investigating a series of threatening calls to several schools. According to the sheriff's office, the first call of a bomb threat was made to County Line Elementary School just after 8, and then 4 other schools within the next several minutes, all of them elementary schools, including Appalachia High School. Now, Appalachia High School is where that tragic school shooting happened September 2024. Again, they're having a press conference giving updates on these threats. It just wrapped up. Just wrapped up. So they were giving a press conference on, and so again, with Live Impact News, when we take you there, we try to bring you there when it happens. Sometimes we miss the press conference, but I was able to fill you in on necessarily, again, what they are talking about. Again, I just want to recap. I know you didn't get a chance to hear some of that press conference, but you got a chance to see the ending of it. Again, there was a soft lockdown at 5 Barrow County schools this morning. It has since been lifted. Law enforcement there investigating a series of threatening calls to several schools, most of them elementary schools. One of them, Appalachia High School. You may remember Appalachia High School is that high school where that tragic school shooting happened back in September 2024. Student Colt Gray was indicted for murder, accused of killing 2 teachers and 2 students during that incident. And his father, Colin Gray, is set to go to trial September 8th for allegedly providing his son with the gun used in that shooting. Again, I just wanted to give you sort of a well-rounded view and some context to what's going on when it comes to that school district there in the Metro Atlanta area. All right, we want to turn back our attention now to the Karen Reed trial. Key prosecution witness Jennifer McCabe is on the stand. They had a break yesterday, but the trial has resumed today. Let's listen in.
I don't know who that is, no.
Go ahead and play it. Pause it. Does it appear that you're engaged in conversation with that person while Miss Roberts is attending to something in the truck and Miss Reed is running back and forth?
Yes, I was speaking to whoever that was.
Do you believe that was a police officer?
I believe, yes.
Go ahead and play it. Mr. Wolk, if you'll stop it at 7:41, please. Could you see what was depicted in the video for about that minute and 10-second runtime?
Yes.
Did it appear that you were engaged in conversation with that other person?
Yes.
When that other person walked away, could you see his jacket?
I couldn't make it out, no.
Did it appear to be he was a police officer?
I'm going to assume it was a police officer, yes.
Okay. In that video, who looks most like she is taking charge, you or Carrie Roberts?
Objection.
Sustained.
Does it appear in that video that you're the one controlling the narrative, at least with law enforcement at that point?
Objection.
Sustained.
Does it appear in that video that you're the one engaging in conversation with law enforcement while Carrie Roberts and Miss Reed are otherwise occupied?
I am speaking with law enforcement, yes.
Can we move to runtime 8:56? Pause it. Can you see yourself in that video?
I can, yes.
Which person are you?
I'm in the far right.
Speaking to someone?
Yes.
Who is that you're speaking to?
I can't make it out, but it looks like a police officer, possibly.
And Miss Roberts is directly in the middle of the screen, is that right?
I thought that was Miss Reed, but I could be wrong.
Let's go ahead and play it. And at 9:26, you'll stop, please. In that video clip, who among the three of you appear to be most engaged with law enforcement at that time?
Objection.
Can you tell? Can you answer that, Ms. Reed? Can you answer that, Ms. McCabe?
Yes, I can. I was speaking to police officers. Yes, I was trying to help them.
Okay. Can we go to runtime 10:49? This will be from 10:49 to 11:55, Mr. Wolk. You pause it. Who is it that's just gesticulating in the video?
That is me.
Can we go ahead and play it? Did you see yourself in that video, that clip, about a minute-long clip?
Yes, I did.
Who among the three of you appeared to be most engaged with law enforcement in that clip?
I was.
Runtime 2022, Mr. Wolk. Stop it. Do you see yourself in that video?
I do, yes.
You've just walked in from frame right?
Yes.
From frame right going left?
Yes, behind Miss Roberts.
Okay,
Yes.
and that's you right in the middle of the screen?
Yes, it is.
And Miss Roberts had already run through, went to her SUV, correct?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and play. This is about a 2-minute clip for the court's edification.
All right.
And this is the last of them. Mr. Wolk, can you pause it? Can you tell who you're speaking to there?
I think it's Mike Lang.
Go ahead and play it. Yeah, just a moment, Your Honor. Ms. McCabe, who was most engaged in that clip with law enforcement? Between
I was.
among you and Carrie Roberts and Ms. Reed.
I was.
You noticed when Mr. O'Keefe was placed on the gurney in a prior clip and moved past you, correct?
Yes.
Did you notice what your reaction was when that gurney passed you?
I didn't know.
Did you see that you turned your back completely to Mr. O'Keefe as he passed by?
If that happened, it wasn't on purpose.
Ms. McCabe, when you got to the scene, we can take that down. When you got to the scene at 6:03 in the morning, you immediately recognized, did you not, that this was an emergency situation? High-intensity emergency situation, correct?
I knew it was an emergency situation, yes.
As a matter of fact, a man's life was in grave danger. You knew that.
Yes, I did.
And this is someone that was a friend of yours, correct?
Yes, he was a dear friend.
Not just a friend, but a police officer who was laying, as far as you knew, dying in the snow. Is that right?
Yes.
You knew that you needed to get immediate medical attention, emergency medical attention to him as quickly as you possibly could. Is that right?
Yes.
You knew that minutes counted, right?
Yes.
You knew that seconds counted, correct?
Correct.
This man was grasping, as far as you knew, grasping and clinging to life at that moment. Is that right?
Yes.
That's why you called 911, to get emergency personnel who are trained in CPR and life-saving measures to the scene, to the gentleman, to Mr. O'Keefe, as quickly as you possibly could, correct?
Yes.
You called 911 at about 6:03 and 35 seconds. Is that right? I don't expect you to know down to the second, but it was about a couple of minutes after 6.
Right after, yeah, we found him, yes.
And you're aware from the dash cam that Officer Seraph got there about 6:10, almost on the nose, right?
I didn't pay attention to the time.
You'll agree with me that there was about 6.5 minutes or so between the time you called 911 and the time Officer Seraph got there. Is that right?
If that's what the dash cam says, yes.
On that 911 call, you referred to John O'Keefe as a man passed out in the snow.
Yes.
You didn't say, "This is my friend."
I needed to get, like you said, emergency there. So
Did
I
you
wasn't
say,
going to
"This is
give
my
a I wasn't going to give a description and say my friend is in the snow. I was going to give them the information that I thought was the most important at the time.
Did
And
you say his name?
I just said a man because that was the more identifying.
You didn't say John?
Eventually in the 911, I do say his name.
You didn't initially say O'Keefe, correct?
No, none of that matters. It was a man in the snow, and I
you
wanted
didn't say,
help there.
And you didn't say he's a Boston police officer or an off-duty police officer?
Again, a man needed help.
Yes or no? Did you
No,
say that?
I didn't.
Do you think that might, yes or no, do you think that might have sped things up if they knew, if the 911 operator knew that this was a fallen officer, a fellow officer?
I think 911 comes to everyone equally. I don't think they would have.
Do you think that might have been something important to relay to the 911 officials?
I don't know.
You were even asked by the 911 operator, does anybody know CPR? And your answer was no, correct?
I'd have to listen to it to remember my exact answers.
But it was basically in the negative. No, we're not professionals. We're just out here doing the best we can, correct?
I wouldn't say that, no.
You didn't believe Karen Reed knew CPR?
I didn't know. I don't think I answered that question. I don't think it was
didn't-
asked.
You didn't know if Carrie Roberts knew CPR, correct?
I didn't know if they knew CPR, correct?
And none of you were paramedics?
No,
None of you were first responders?
no,
None of you were trained in emergency life-saving techniques in any way, correct?
correct.
I have a question, Ms. McCabe. On all of Fairview, the entire road between Chapman and Cedar Crest, can you think of any person on that road who might have had life-saving techniques trained into them? First responder, someone who knew how to deal with someone in distress, someone with high skill level training. Do you think of anyone on Fairview who had that kind of training?
Can I now or did I then? Which are you asking?
Did you then?
No, then my focus was on John O'Keefe.
Okay, let me narrow the focus. How about on the property? How about at 34 Fairview? Could you think of anyone that was a first responder who would have life-saving training, life-saving technique training under his belt?
Yes, my brother-in-law, Brian Albert.
And you didn't go in the house, did you?
No, I did not.
When you arrived at the scene, you didn't go in? Not until much later, correct?
Our focus was John.
You knew that Brian Albert was inside the house. You'd just been with him hours earlier, correct?
Yes,
You knew that his window was 30 feet away. You were staring at it. You could look at it if you wanted to, correct?
it's off to an angle.
And you didn't go in the house then either.
I did not know.
You knew that John O'Keefe was clinging to life during those precious minutes and seconds. Is that right?
I did, yes.
And you also knew that Brian Albert, your brother-in-law, was a first responder trained to deal with people in that kind of distress, correct?
In that moment, my only thoughts were John and everything we could do for John.
And you knew that there were warm blankets inside the house. Is that right?
I did, yes. There were warm blankets in the house.
And you
Those
still
weren't-
never went in, did you?
No, I went and attended to John because once I finished calling 911, I went over to John and Kerry Roberts asked me to take over compressions. So I felt like that was more important and 911 was on the way. I never thought about going in the house. I just thought, how can I help John?
You never thought about going in the house, but you did pull out your cell phone and make 2 phone calls, didn't you?
After I called 911, I tried calling my sister, yes.
While John was out in the cold, clinging to life, you weren't doing chest compressions at 6:07 and 6:08, were you?
I was walking over when I was calling.
You were calling your sister on the phone, weren't you, Mr. McKay?
I was calling them to see if they would come out, but I was going right over to work on him.
And you could have walked the 25 feet to the front door, walked in the house, and screamed for Brian Albert to come out and help you in those precious seconds and minutes, couldn't you?
That would have taken me away from helping John, getting Kerry blankets, giving him compressions.
And making those two very important phone calls at 6:07 and 6:08 that you say were not answered, correct?
They were not important phone calls. I tried to call my sister, and then I focused on John.
They were not important phone calls, but they were important enough for you to make while John is clinging to life right there in front of you, right?
As I was walking over, I called to see if she would.
You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Servant. Right now, you're watching a key witness for the prosecution in the Karen Reed trial. That is Jennifer McCabe there on the stand. There was a day off yesterday, but they're back, obviously, today. Testimony continues. We'll get back to this trial. We've been sticking on this trial for weeks at this point, so we'll get back to this trial. But we want to come back home because this weekend is a big weekend. We talked about South Carolina Strawberry Festival in Fort Mill. Kendrick Lamar concert at Bank of America Stadium. Kendrick Lamar and SZA at Bank of America Stadium. And, of course, Love and Life Music Festival in Uptown as well. It is a busy weekend. And, look, I've been looking at the countdown, Carlene. Below on the bottom of the website, it has reversed the countdown.
Yep.
So it was counting down. Now it's counting up. So the gates have officially been open for about
5 minutes.
6 minutes, actually.
Yeah.
6 minutes. So we have a reporter there for day one as the gates are open. Jessie Pierre is live. She's waving at us. Hello, Jessie. So what are you seeing? Walk us through what's going on there right now.
So, hey guys, I'm here at the main gate. Now, the main gate, they're going to open that up at 1:45, and everything starts kicking off really at 2 o'clock when it comes to music and so forth. Now, the VIP, they have a little bit of extra. The VIP gets you in a little bit earlier, so that is why that's open already, and that's just on the other side there. Now, the main entrance is at 7th Street and North Brevard. And so here's a little bit of the gate. I'm gonna actually flip the camera so that you can see it. Hold on. Okay, so this is the main gate here. And again, there is a clear bag policy. So that's one thing you want to know. Again, this is very early. Folks are still waiting to get through the main gate over here. The thing you will need to make sure to get in is a wristband. The wristband is your ticket. And so again, they're covering it now, but you can see a little bit of inside over here. But overall, there's just a lot of excitement with this concert. You know, folks I spoke to say they're looking forward to seeing Gwen Stefani. They're looking forward for Teddy Swims. And the band I keep hearing the most about really is Dave Matthews. That is what folks are telling me about. And a lot of people are visiting from afar to come out and check out this concert. Now, this is all happening at First Ward Park. There's a lot of street closure. So even driving here, finding parking, you want to give yourself a little bit of time to navigate through all of that. And you know what? If you're coming here, again, clear back policy, you're going to be paying for parking if you do drive yourself, parking about like $40, you know? So that's why folks are encouraged to take public transportation. If you are driving, ride share so you can save some money there. But Cats also has some special discount passes. And let me show you how close so here, hold on, we're going to flip again. You have the general gate here and the rail line right there. So you literally can just walk a few steps away. There's 7th Market Street over here that has a bunch of restaurants and things like that in there. So it's very simple to pay for that special discount pass for the couple of days if you're here for the 3-day concert, to just get that and then park somewhere else, get on the rail line, and then come over here. Now, another thing that people are telling me they're really excited about is the fact that there's themes. Today, it is Bring Back the 90s, so a lot of folks are excited to get dressed up. I think, anybody loves a good themed event, so getting dressed up in the 90s theme and so forth to enjoy all of this. Now, earlier this week, the city of Charlotte and city officials and CMPD did hold a safety briefing. Of course, safety is their top priority. And like you mentioned, Nick, there's a lot of different events going on this weekend. So one thing you'll see officers. And even when I was driving here, walking here, you see a lot of patrol officers parked in different areas of the concert. And, and at the same time, too, if you see something, you want to say something, grab an officer. If there's something that's suspicious, you want to make sure to report it, because everyone who's out here, they want to make sure they have a good time and they want to enjoy all of the festivities safely. And then also it's warm, right? It's a hot day. You'll be enjoying the festivities, you'll be partying and so forth, but you'll also be probably getting your steps in, right? So make sure you bring an empty bottle that you can refill and get water, because there are water stations here. So you want to make sure that you stay hydrated. And also another thing with CMPD, they'll be also having a command center that will be fully operational, so they can keep their eye on everything. So I think that kind of covers a little bit of everything for you. But again, there's a lot of excitement with this concert. Gwen Stefani, Teddy Swims, Ludacris. It's just a lot of great people. On top of that, they're featuring local artists. And then also you have local vendors and a lot of different ways to support businesses here at the concert, but also enjoy the Queen City, right? A lot of people that I spoke to are visiting. And so that was a thing. I spoke to someone from Chicago, people from Michigan, some people from Virginia came through, and they're excited to just experience everything the Queen City has to offer. Sending it back to you, Nick.
Jessie Pierre with one of the best assignments today. Also, she's a busy woman today. Not only is she here on the stream, but she's live at 4, 5, and 6. So I'm not going to waste any time. I'm not going to waste any more time. I have some questions, but no, I'll text you, Jessie. So I'll let you get back to it.
Bye.
All right, see you, Jessie. All right, that's Jessie Pierre live there. Look, it's a cool weekend, really cool weekend. So one thing I did not even get a chance to bring this up, because we were talking about local artists and acts performing. The Sainted Trap Choir from Charlotte is performing Sunday
That's
at
huge.
2:30. Yes, and we featured them here on WCNC Charlotte. Really cool to see that these local groups get a chance to be on the stage. And look, they're on the same stage as a Dave Matthews Band, a Teddy Swims. It's the same stage on Sunday that they are going to be a part of. So that's pretty cool.
It's a huge moment.
And I also got a shout out to Jeb. Jeb Goldman is here. He mentioned, and this is pretty cool too, Benson Boone is performing tonight at 8. And in about like 24 hours from at that point, about roughly, he's going to be on the SNL stage.
Yeah. From Charlotte to SNL.
Man, look.
Live from New York, live from Charlotte, live from everywhere.
It's Saturday Night Live.
It's Saturday Night
And the cool
Live.
part about it is you watch Saturday Night Live on WCNC
That's
Charlotte.
true.
So it's a full connection there. So I'm excited for our folks this weekend, because with festivals, you get a lot of folks. It's their first time going to the festival.
Yeah.
Or going to a festival, a music festival.
Have you gone to festivals? How many music festivals have you gone to?
Off the top of my head, I've been to maybe 5 music festivals.
That's a good amount.
Yeah. It's been a while.
You're a veteran of music festivals.
I'm kind of I love music festivals, but it is a long day. You have to wear your comfy sneakers. You have to make sure you're hydrated. You got to, most of these festivals are when it gets warm outside, and you have to be prepared because it might rain. No matter every festival I've been to, it's rained at least one day during the festival.
Yeah.
It happens. It's weather. It happens.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think 2 of the 3 I've been to have rained.
You gotta be okay. I'm a sneaker guy. You gotta be okay. You gotta bring the sneakers that
You can't wear your nice sneakers.
You can't wear the nice sneakers.
You wear the ones that you're like,
And that's how you know those are the first time or inexperienced festival goers. If they wear the nice
the clean
sneakers,
no.
Man,
no,
I saw a lot of nice Jordans when I went to Made in America.
No.
And
How
those.
do they do that?
Because you also it's kind of like a fashion thing. You want to look nice.
I understand that, but you're throwing money away.
It's a lot of people stepping on the shoes on accident.
That's right.
I get it. And some mud, it can be a little dirty. But I hope folks have a great time out there. Day one, gates are open right now, and we had the pleasure of speaking with Bob Durkin from Southern Entertainment. They are putting this event on. I talked to him from everything about what it takes to top last year's festival. Safety also, a big thing, the Kendrick Lamar SZA concert. I talked to him about that and how they were able to maneuver around that because this is a 3-day festival. So let's listen into that interview that I did with Bob Durkin. It's going to be a busy time in Uptown. And to break it all down, we have Bob Durkin here, co-founder of Southern Entertainment. His team is bringing Love and Life Music Festival back for a second time. Bob, I guess my first question, it was so successful last year. How do you top last year?
Well, I think, like you said, yeah, last year was great. I think we've got a even stronger lineup with Dave Matthews and Gwen Stefani, who's just an American icon. From now she's on The Voice to she's reinvented herself so many times, from No Doubt now to her duets with her husband Blake, and then of course Benson Boone, who's was the darling of Coachella, and they've nicknamed our little festival here Boonechella, because I think we're going to get to see his patented jump off the piano. So, like you said, it's culture, it's community, it's fun, it's family, it's great food, and some of the best music in the world.
And Bob, so one of the artists that I'm looking forward to hearing about, I'm still trying to make my way there. Out of full transparency, DJ Jazzy Jeff. Now we got a young producer in here who does not know who DJ Jazzy Jeff is. and look, I've heard great things about his set. Who are you looking forward to seeing? I know you mentioned Benson Boone, Gwen Stefani. They're performing Friday night, but who are you looking forward to?
So me personally, that Benson Boone show, I've watched the videos. I can't wait to see it in person because I just love that energy and how crazy it is. But my personal taste, number one, is Pitbull. His shows are energy from one note from the beginning to the end. And then on Friday at 5:00 is Third Eye Blind, and that just brings me back to so many great memories. So I think that's going to really be a big part of the show. And then we have the new artist Alex Warren, who's closing the stage on Sunday. And his song is just viral. And the way women are reacting to this love song is great. If you haven't heard Alex Warren, you will. So I'd check it out. And then on Saturday, I will be front and center for Ludacris because his songs are amazing. He brings so much energy, films, music. He's just an unbelievable talent. And we're so lucky and excited to have him here.
As a music nerd that I am, I love how you have different generations, right? Like you have a Big X Plug rapper out of Dallas, and then you have somebody like Ludacris, right? Who late '90s, early 2000s, mainly the early 2000s. To see those different generations come together, man, what is that like?
So, the last few years, it's been amazing the transition music has made. Everything that they fed us on the radio is what we grew up with. But now you can go find your favorite music, Spotify, online, social. So it's amazing. My kids are 14 and 19, and through TikTok, Instagram, they've been exposed to Pitbull, been exposed to, we had Stevie Nicks last year. So it's great to see the young generation really appreciate the Gwen Stefani and the Dave Matthews. So you'd think they wouldn't know, but a lot of the younger people know it. So that's what's great about it. I think is, music brings those generations together. And then also, like you said, we have some of the parents bringing their kids. Their kids want to see Benson Boone. Mom wants to see Gwen Stefani. Kids want to see Teddy Swims. Mom wants to see Dave Matthews. So there's a great, dichotomy there. And I've seen, families who posted last year who kids are running around. And then just like you said, in general, if you're a music nerd, we got all types for you. And I would definitely recommend checking out the local stage in First Ward Park, which is sponsored by Ascent, the women's soccer team this year. And that is going to be bands each day from the local and regional area. And we have such a big platform now, bringing these national artists in. We want to be able to help use that so the local artists could garner some more fans and expose their music to the crowd. And just as important, to the fans who come to Love and Life, so they can expose to new music and music that's local and regional here. So, could mean something to them. So we love helping foster music in the community. And I think that's one big thing that people should go check out.
What did you guys learn from last year? The inaugural festival last year, and how are you guys applying with the lessons learned from last year to this year?
So what's great about Charlotte is they are the best when it comes to large events. We've worked in a lot of cities around the country, and there's no better city than Charlotte in this public-private partnership to provide security, medical, fire. and the police are top notch. So we recapped right after last year, and I think all reports it was a tremendous success. It was a very safe event, but there's a few things that can be tweaked. So we've been working with them all year long to make sure best practices come into place. And then when it comes to some of the setup, people were really happy last year with no lines to get in, no lines for the bathroom, get a drink, get food easy. And so we're hoping to grow on that. We've changed a few things with the layout, but only really to help the ease of getting around. So we took a lot of the recommendations from some of the, people coming here, people that are experts at this. And I think we've tweaked a few things to make the experience even better. So we're excited about that. But I think our sponsors have added some activation. The local artists have built one of our lineup T-shirts. They built the Instagrammable big heart that you can take your picture in front of. So we just try to incorporate even more of the local flavor. Public safety number one. Make sure all of that's best practices, and we're putting on the safest, most fun event. But then we've leaned into some of these great Charlotte things. Last year we brought Mr. K's back, and that was a huge hit. People hadn't had his burgers or ice cream in forever. And George from there, who was a staple. If you grew up here on South Boulevard, the brand, and so bringing it back really put Charlotte, best foot forward. And this year we're bringing back Vic the Chili Man. He was on Tryon Street for 20 years selling his chili dogs. And so if you grew up in Charlotte or you work downtown, you know him. And so we're excited we can bring him back. And so if you've never had it or you miss it, definitely stop by First Ward Park and pick up a chili dog.
And does it get tricky at all? Because on one end, you want to keep folks safe because we are, looking at potential thunderstorms on Saturday. But also on the other end, Kendrick Lamar and SZA are going to be at Bank of America Stadium, also in Uptown. Does it get tricky at all planning events? And obviously, you can't predict the weather so far out in advance, or what other shows are coming in town this weekend that you're planning for.
Yeah, having another show at the stadium's not ideal, obviously. We'd like to have, and hopefully we can work on that in the future to make sure that the schedules do match up, because, we could move a couple of dates here or there, and they do too. So hopefully some more communication. We can avoid that in the future. But when it comes to the rain and safety, like I said, that's leaning into our public safety plan, our communication with the app. And this time of year, those things are called for. But, Brad and some of the great weathermen in town have told me that the chances are very low, and that we're looking at a majority of sunshine and a great weekend. So we have a plan in place in case something happens, but we're looking forward to some great weather, great fun.
My last question, Bob, before I get you out of here. I know you mentioned this earlier in the interview. What should folks keep in mind? If this is their first year going out there, what are some things they need to keep in mind before they go out there to the venue?
So, if it's your first year, make sure you have the app. You can build your schedule on it. It gives you all the information, the bag policy, the closest place to get in, the times, all that basic stuff. But then also that's our communication tool all year long, all weekend long. I mean, we'll be able to put stuff on social media, but if you have the app, the push notifications will tell you the highlights of what's going on in the show. If there's anything when it comes to weather, we'll push through that. So I would recommend everyone getting the app, but also plan on your transportation. Last year, the light rail was really huge for bringing people in, and so we've leaned into that this year, a more frequent stops, and it's going to run even later. So CATS are the best group, transportation wise we've ever worked with, and so they're really helped. And so if you plan on taking the light rail, I think that's the best idea. Then we also up on College Street have Uber and Lyft spots. So I would recommend Uber, Lyft, or the light rail, and get the app, and just come with your festival in mind, dress up for the theme nights, and just come ready to have a great time and celebrate with your neighbors in Charlotte, and listen to some of the best music, and expect some really cool special surprises.
Bob Durkin, Southern Entertainment. Bob, thank you for your time. And Bob, man, you got the newsroom buzzing right now. A lot of folks, when the initial announcement came out, a lot of folks in the newsroom were excited. So I know a lot of folks in the city are excited for the show.
Great. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the support.
It was really cool having Bob on the show yesterday, talking about Love and Life. Again, this is a big deal for the city. It brings a lot of eyes, even more eyes to Charlotte, a lot of folks, a lot of newcomers, a lot of people just, the cool thing when you have big events like this, people who are not from here get a chance to discover what Charlotte has to offer. Right. Charlotte's such a cool city. I talk about it from time to time growing up and coming into Charlotte. So yeah. And again, we want to make sure that you're safe, you're well informed, and that also comes, that means when it comes to the weather.
Right.
And I
Which
know
will be a factor.
it will be a factor. And so we had meteorologist Chris Mulcahy come on and give his concert forecast,
Yes.
which details like an hour by hour breakdown
With the artist.
With the artist. So look, if you're about to head out to the show, stop what you're doing,
Take a look,
and listen to this.
I created something that's called our concert cast. So let's bring
Okay.
that up.
All right,
So
where
this
is it?
literally is where Love and Life is, but then also this works out because if you focus in after 7 o'clock, we also have the big concert at Bank of America Stadium. So this model right here is called the HRRR, so the High Resolution Rapid Refresh. All you have to need to know is this is the one that sometimes can go a little bit more aggressive, but it also is the one that rapidly updates every single hour. So let's go through it. So this one right here, as most of them do, shows that this evening, and I'm going to bring up things, Benson Boone, 8 to 9.
Wow.
Right now, nothing. Again, there's only one that shows that storm. So there's the outside chance. If that happens, we're unlucky, and then we're going to buy lottery tickets, and we're going to have a better Saturday. Gwen Stefani, you saw a little blip of green. Here, I'm going to go back. So you see how quick, see how close it is? So it's going to be close. There's going to be storms in the area. There's going to be rain in the area, but we'll see how it is. Hopefully Gwen's going to do her magic. But then overnight, rain's going to move in. So I think regardless, you're going to have rain after 11. It looks like it's close to about that midnight, so it's going to be a close call. Hey, there was some rain during Stevie Nicks last year, and it actually
that's
enhanced
right.
things. So you could have a wet start to the day, but then once you restart Love and Life on Saturday, this is the big question mark. Where are those storms going to be? So Petey Pablo.
Petey Pablo, North Carolina.
Yeah,
Oh,
shout out. But here's the deal. I'm going to try to slow things down as much as possible because it happens so fast because we're zoomed in so much. Notice, let me see, 3:15. Boom, there it is.
Oh.
See,
That doesn't look
I'm saying it's going to rain. I'm very confident it's going to rain. I'm just over here just trying to dodge these storms. So there's going to be some of the earlier acts that are going to be disappointed. This is torrential downpours. This is, the way that the seats are. If you have one of these when anything's happening, like water's going to be filling up areas of the streets. Drains overwhelmed for the brief period. Now, luckily, I think there's going to be some breaks in between. So it depends. That could be shifting an hour. We're still talking about over a day out here, but you have on and off rain, on and off rain. There is a chance that we could break things up. Here's that little lull I was talking about. So this brings us up to ludicrous time, but what moves right back? Another potential shower or storm, but we could open things back up for Weezer before you have even more widespread rain that really starts to take over through the overnight. So maybe that didn't help, but hey, Penelope Road, haven't heard of this band or person, but it looks to be clear, and everything else is clear after that for Sunday.
I mean, yeah, it's 50-plus acts out there.
Yeah.
They're going to
Yeah.
be affected, and vans and the like, so it's going to be tough.
What angers me is that literally we've been praying for rain because of this
I
drought
know.
status, and then it was like, okay, let's do it all at once when we have probably the biggest acts here in Charlotte for the year. So
Yeah.
I hope things change. This is the one time that I have to say, haha, Chris, you were wrong.
You're
Bad
hoping-
job.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, no, it's not looking good. You saw that. I literally just showed you in the time that I've been talking 4 different models, and all of them say one thing: it's gonna rain.
Look, it's going to rain. There's no way around it. That's what the models predict. 4 different models. We want you to have, and what Brad say, like, look, shows are not canceled because of the rain, but when we get into the thunder and lightning, that's when it gets tricky. So again, we want you to stay informed. We want you to be in a loop when it comes to what's going on as far as this weather.
I gotta talk to you about something about Jesse's hit that we glossed over, and you and I looked at each other. $40 for parking.
$40 for parking.
I hate.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not gonna be a hater, but $40 for parking. That's a lot, right?
You got it. Look. Yeah.
Yeah.
We both glanced at each other at the.
We said we both glanced at each other. We had to check.
Like, whoa. And look, but here's the thing though: $40 for parking, or possibly a $40
Oh,
Uber.
for sure.
So it's kind
And
of
you
like
pay
pick your
that for,
poison.
I guess, for a tailgate spot anyway.
Yeah.
If it was the Panthers or something like that,
Yeah, and everybody's coming from an area connected to the light rail, because
Sure.
the light rail can take you near-ish. It should take you near-ish. I don't know the exact route, but it should take you where you can walk.
Right.
To the but so
Close enough. Save you $40.
40, yeah. $40 for parking is steep.
It's a little
It's steep.
It's a little steep. Maybe
But
maybe I'm a little cheap, but to be honest, a little steep.
my friends called me cheap recently. My friends, they called me cheap recently.
Why?
I don't think I'm cheap.
I don't think you're
I don't
cheap.
think I'm cheap. I don't know why. I don't know where that
I mean, we've never had to discuss parking.
Right. But I don't know where that. It just made me think of that. I was like,
what do you don't?
I think
how
about-
much would you pay max for parking before you're like, let me circle the block a little bit and see if I can get better?
I'm circling the block when I see 20.
What? Oh no, I'll pay 20. No, 20. No, 40's about where I get to be
I'm always the state of mind is like, you know what? I could find a nice, cheap,
nice spot.
free street park somewhere. I could squeeze in somewhere for the free 99.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of things you need to know before you head out the door. I know look, I know you're watching this, and I know you're like, Nick, I'm trying to get to the venue. The gates are open. You're telling me to sit here and watch for good reason. What? Look, we're trying to keep you informed, keep you safe. But before you leave, for real this time, don't leave.
Don't leave.
Because we want to give you sort of the ins and outs when it comes to the festival, what you need to know. And of course, we had to bring in WCNC Charlotte's Megan Bragg.
Bring in the best.
She's here.
Hey.
So what do folks need to know as far as Love and Light?
You know, obviously it's a festival. There's going to be a lot of people there, and you were discussing the rain. So unfortunately, you have to leave those umbrellas in your car. They cannot be brought into the festival. So if you are going Saturday, you may get a little wet, but that's okay. You can bring those ponchos. You know, you can bring something like that. As far as what you can bring into the festival, you are allowed to bring in your cell phone. You're allowed to bring in a clear bag that doesn't exceed. And let me give you these dimensions here. Hang on.
I wish I had like a
of course. I just
tape
want to get
measure
this right.
here.
Yes.
Of the
Okay.
demonstration.
You can
So it's
guess.
clear
Okay.
plastic, vinyl, or PVC without like a holograph tint or a color
Okay.
tint. And I know sometimes people try to go into these things with like tinted clear bags.
Right.
It's not going to work. It
okay.
needs to be clear. Okay, 12 by 6 by 12. And then, or you can bring like a gallon, like a freezer bag if you want.
I've never seen
Get
that.
creative with it.
Okay.
You know,
You
like
said 12 by 6 by 12?
yeah,
That's the NFL
the NFL
laws.
size.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
basically NFL rules, right, for that. So let's talk about pets are not allowed. Kids are allowed. 10 and under actually get in for free. So that's always good if you
I'm glad I'm
need to
9.
bring them. You cannot bring a festival. You can't bring a chair. You cannot bring a cooler. You can bring, like I said, I don't know if I mentioned this already, but a reusable water bottle.
Okay.
It cannot be full because you can't have food or drink in the venue, but you can have a water bottle. They have water stations there that
Okay.
you can get. Food and drink is obviously in the venue, so you can get food and drink there. They do not want anyone videotaping any of the concerts there, so you can't bring like a video camera or anything like that. And what else can I tell you? Oh, no vapes. I know the kids.
Yeah.
Kids are vaping.
Yeah.
Kids be vaping.
Yeah.
Kids be vaping right
But
now.
you cannot bring those vapes in, and yeah.
When I heard video camera, I was like, well, I mean, people have phones, but it is the theme today, 90s. So
90s.
somebody could have thought
brought
about
in
yeah.
actual video. Remember when we had to do that?
Or even back in the early 2000s, like the little handheld.
Yeah, the handhelds.
Those were the days.
Those were the days.
It's crazy that it's been a year since the first festival, but and I remember us having this conversation last year, and you were trying to find the exact rules. Any big changes from last year that you noticed that stuck out?
Not necessarily. And really, what can stay and go is very much on par of what was last year. They encourage people, to be festive, to bring the flags, but leave the poles at home, right? Like, be yourself, have a great time. But it really is about like safety, and concern. There's going to be so many people there.
Right.
They don't want the umbrellas there blocking view of people, trying to enjoy the concerts or whatever. So really mainly safety is the big issue here, and they just want everyone to have a good time and leave the stuff at home that shouldn't be brought. We're going to do a whole verify on this, and of course we'll have it on our link of the whole entire list, because there is a lot. We're going to include a lot for everyone, and they can just click on our link and see it before they have to go, and make sure that they're bringing what they can and leaving what they need to at home.
On a much lighter note, because we were talking about security and safety. Are you going?
I'm going.
Okay.
I'm going Sunday.
Yay!
My brother is a huge Dave Matthews
Yeah, y'all are
fan.
Dave Matthews. We've talked about this.
Yes,
Because you and I have gone to plenty of Dave.
Yes.
You're supposed to teach me a
Dave.
Dave Matthews
Yes.
Band song.
I'm gonna send
You've
you
heard
some.
'em.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe I have.
I promise
You
heard
have.
at least
You've
I'm
heard
pretty
at
sure I
least
have.
one.
Yeah.
What's like the most
Crashing.
crashing in me?
Yeah.
That one. Wow, I can't believe I just said that on the stream.
That was
We'll get copyright. We can't do that.
We can't do it. Yeah. So
Megan Bragg is her name, y'all.
Yeah.
Just,
Well,
You've heard at least one Dave song.
yeah, you have.
okay.
So
Good for you, you're going.
I'm really excited. It'll be a really good time. I think too, like I'm sure people are feeling this way too. The crowd anxiety is
I'm with
a
you.
real thing now. So I kind of have that, but other than that,
Have you been to a
excited.
festival before?
No, I haven't.
really?
I have never been to a festival. This is
That
my
was not on my
first
bingo card.
festival. Yeah, so I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see what it's going to be about. Yeah.
I know you're gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
I know you're gonna. Man, I'm a little jealous.
Yeah. Well,
Meg goes to all the fun events, by the way.
Meg goes
Hornets games.
She's going to Bluey tomorrow. Bluey at the ballpark.
At the ballpark.
I
know.
look.
She's seeing everybody. She's seeing all the stars.
Everybody.
I'm about to be your for real best friend, so I can
Yeah,
go to some of
okay.
these.
Yeah. Once you stop making fun of me, you will be.
We love you, Meg. And
love
look,
you
as I always
too,
say,
Nick.
when you're headed out, I get a little bit smarter every time you leave here.
Obviously.
All right.
Okay.
Let me punch
Okay.
my camera back on. Will you give me a little
Yeah.
bit?
Put your camera back on. Okay.
Thank you, Meg. Again, that's everything that you need to know before you enter the festival. 3 days of the festival. Gates open right now. First act goes on in a little less, about an hour. But I'm sorry, in less than 30 minutes. In less than 30, Motherfolk will be on the light stage, the Miller Light stage. So yes, again, take that information. That was very helpful information, stuff that I didn't even know.
Right.
So have fun, be safe, and take that information and go off with it to the festival. Enjoy yourself. All right. So we want to go now to. Do we want to go to a live event? Hawaii? Okay. That's what I thought. Okay. So. All right, let's keep you updated. So this right now is a volcano. So we've covered this live here on the stream from
We
9
covered
to
it
11.
earlier today. That's why I figured it was probably important to update folks, because we had it kind of on our screen all morning from like 9 to 11. It's stopping.
Yep.
The Kilauea volcano eruption has stopped. You can see, like earlier this morning, there was, it was
I saw it. It was
lava.
a pretty
like
scary
a lot
situation.
Of lava. Now, this is what what time is it in Hawaii now?
It ended at 5:20, so about an hour ago. So it should be about 7
o'clock this morning.
Yeah. So it ended about
morning there?
5:20 in the morning there, about an hour ago.
Yes.
I'm looking at a post on X from the USGS volcanoes page. They keep us updated, and basically this is the 19th eruption. It erupted for 8 hours. Again, a very scary scene there, but it looks like this is under control right now. So we just want to give you keep you updated, because this is something that we covered in the morning. We want to get back to it. All right. So right now we want to shift over. I just kind of set this up a bit. So last week we brought you this story, very disturbing story. We have Vanessa Rufus on here to help us flesh this out, about a possum being set on fire in the Charlotte area. There was a video that in a way went viral that we got into our newsroom. We started digging into it. So here's the latest. The North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission is right now giving an update on an animal cruelty investigation, this possum investigation that, again, has struck the nerve of the Charlotte community and beyond. That video that I just mentioned, which started circulating online last week, showed someone pouring a flammable liquid on a possum before setting it on fire. Very disturbing video. The incident generated significant public outrage. Again, we received numerous calls, emails from concerned citizens. Again, we are getting an update right now. That press conference is happening live, but we wanted to start it from the very beginning so you didn't miss anything here on Live Impact News. So we're going to take you to that press conference right now.
My name is Lieutenant Forrest Orr with the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission, and we're here today to share with you some information about a case that we're working on here in Mecklenburg County. We have some information that we'd like to share with you, and then after we're done sharing some information with you, we'll be glad to take some questions. But keep in mind that there are some specifics that we cannot share about the case, such as specific names of persons of interest, specific information that we have, just because it is still under investigation, and that information is very important to us. So at this time, I'd like to introduce two other officers here with us today. We have Sergeant William Layton and Officer Christopher Blankenship here with us today, and I can get you those spellings of those names before you leave here today. So at this time, I'd like to call up Officer Christopher Blankenship. He's going to be sharing some information with you, and after he's done, we will take some questions.
Welcome. I'm Officer Christopher Blankenship of the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission Law Enforcement Division. As a law enforcement agency responsible for the conservation of North Carolina's native species, the Wildlife Commission's Law Enforcement Division is leading an investigation into an animal cruelty case involving a possum. The investigation was initiated following reports to both the Wildlife Commission and the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department from concerned citizens who saw a video that was first shared on social media on Thursday, April 24th of 2025, in which a possum was doused with an accelerant and burned alive. We have been in contact with the District Attorney's Office to discuss how we will proceed, and this investigation is ongoing. We are grateful for the assistance of CMPD and their officers. We are also extremely grateful for the information received thus far from the public. We would encourage anyone with additional information regarding this incident to use our anonymous wild tip reporting system that's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year. To send an anonymous wild tip via text, text the keyword wild tip along with your tip to tip 411 or 847-411. Texting wild tip removes all identifying information from a text, so tips are completely anonymous. To submit a wild tip online, visit ncwildlife.gov/wildtip and fill out the form on the webpage. We are aware of rewards being offered by other organizations. However, the Wildlife Commission is not involved in the administration of those rewards and cannot provide any further information. We'll provide an update once more information is available, and thank you again for your assistance in helping us get this information out to the public.
All right, at this time we will take any questions that you may have, but again, I just want to remind you that it is still under investigation and we can't provide specifics into some of the information or persons of interest.
What would these people be charged with when they're caught?
So we're still looking at all possible avenues into this case, but right offhand, felony animal cruelty is a Class H felony.
That'd be the only charge that you know of at this time?
At this time.
Does the suspect have any other history?
So we have persons of interest in the case, and we're continuing to look for new leads.
Do you believe this is the only instance, or there are more that they didn't post?
So we are aware of the second video that's also been surfaced, and we're working to determine if they are related or not. As far as, if there's a recent uptick in the area with this type of behavior, we don't have the statistical data or anything to back that up and can't really speak to that.
I know the investigation is ongoing, but how do you guys narrow in on the area that you're looking for the suspect?
So it comes from the public giving us so much information. So we have a lot of information coming in, and we're trying to review that information and be as thorough as possible before we make a final decision.
I know the investigation's ongoing, but was the address posted at all used to help narrow in on this, on where you are now with this?
Again, there's multiple places of interest and persons of interest in the case.
Were you surprised at all by the community outcry following the posting of the video?
It's something that our agency is taking very serious. It's a heinous act that we're investigating, and it's not an ethical way to take a wild animal. We're diligently investigating this case, as will for any felony case of animal abuse, of wild animal abuse. So the public support has definitely been helpful on our end to gather information. And we encourage anyone that has any eyewitness accounts or any other information to get us that information through Wild Tip.
Is there any concern of how this could escalate potentially?
I'm going to refer to Lieutenant Orr right quick on that one.
Yeah, so as we mentioned before, there was a second video posted, and so our message would be to folks, we obviously would not like for this to escalate, and we don't want this to turn into some type of a viral issue or some type of another instance where people see this and think that it's funny or that they can continue this type of behavior.
As a wildlife officer, have you ever seen anything like this before? Cases like this before?
There have been cases similar to this in the past, so it is something that we have seen, but fortunately it's not something that we see a lot of.
What do you think it says about a person who does something like that?
Well, everybody has their motives behind why they do this, and it's hard to get into somebody's mind to say what they're thinking when they do something like this.
Is this felony animal cruelty?
So there is a couple other options to this. Felony animal cruelty is one of the possibilities, but there are a few other options that we could look into. There's also the possibility of a misdemeanor animal cruelty, as well as some other wildlife-specific charges that we could look at as well. All right, any other questions? Well, again, we want to thank you all so much for coming out. As we mentioned, if we do have any further information in the future, we will be sharing that with the public. We just want to remind folks, if you do have any further information that you think might be useful, to share it to our Wild Tip, Tip 411.
You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sertivant. Right there on your screen is a press conference from moments ago from the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission. This is following. Okay, so they're actually answering more questions. Let's listen back into this press conference.
Investigation.
It could be possible that it's maybe from a year ago.
We don't know that for sure. That's part of the important part of the investigation, to figure out exactly when and where the video was taken.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all so much for coming today.
All right, so that was a press conference that just wrapped up moments ago. Update in the possum being burned, a very disturbing case, disturbing video that we received into our newsroom last week. So I just want to give you some cliff notes from this press conference. So, and this is what we're learning from North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission. So they are saying they're leading this investigation into animal cruelty, calling this an animal cruelty case involving this possum. Now, reports from Wildlife CMPD from citizens who saw citizens shared on social media. I'm guessing that's the name of the Facebook page. The video was shared on on social media. Now the possum from that video was doused in some sort of flammable liquid and burned alive. They are aware of a second video that has surfaced, and they're working to see if they are connected. They've been in contact with the district attorney and how they will proceed, and this investigation is ongoing. They do have persons of interest, multiple places of interest, and they're looking for, they're thankful, but they're also looking for more info from the public. And they are encouraging anyone else with information to come forward. And they will provide more updates when they become available. They call this a heinous act that they are investigating. Again, I'm reading through some of the notes in real time that we have. So that's sort of just from that press conference that we just played you. Again, this is a developing story. We do have a reporter on that story, and that will bring us updates in our evening newscast. So you don't want to miss those updates. Again, this is a story that has, we got the video last week into our newsroom. We got a lot of comments, a lot of emails, a lot of, I guess, tags on social media regarding this story. So we are digging into the story. All right, so we want to shift gears now to another story that has a lot of folks in the Charlotte community concerned. So as Haitian Heritage Month begins, leaders in North Carolina's Haitian community say it's hard to celebrate amid grief and outrage following the death of a Haitian woman while in U.S. ICE custody. Now, Marie Blaise, 44 years old, was pronounced dead at the Broward Transitional Center in Florida on Friday, April 25th, according to ICE officials. Her cause of death is under investigation. Our very own WCNC Charlotte's Jesse Pierre has been speaking with leaders in that community about exactly what happened, getting their thoughts and reactions. Here is one of her interviews that she did recently with the Carolina Haitian Women's Society. Let's listen in.
I'm the director of membership with the Carolina Haitian Women's Society.
Perfect. Just let's start overall when there's been a lot of different things going on as far as deportations and terminations of TPS and parole and different things happening in the Haitian community, being a member of a group, in the Carolinas, working with a lot of different Haitian folks and so forth. How has this been impacting communities and families and et cetera, when it comes to just this agenda?
It's actually, I've spoken on this before with, just the community, within community, with friends and family. And, these instances, these occurrences really create a sense of fear, a true fear, anxiety, just not knowing what to do, when to do it, because the current administration is moving and making orders or passing policies at such a fast rate. It's not trying to provide a realistic expectation and trying to anticipate what to do in these cases has been really difficult. So that's what at least I've experienced within our community, that we're experiencing having to stay ready so we don't have to get ready, because it's just everything is moving so fast.
And as we are here in May, kind of, we have Haitian Heritage Month and so forth. What does that mean to you? And as we have this that we're excited about, but then there's all this other stuff that kind of has a weight on that as well.
Well, for me, it really means just continuing to celebrate the culture, taking the time, creating the space, not only for myself, my boys, my husband, as we participate in the Haitian culture as a family, but to just continue creating that space and holding that space for others who are traveling here from other states. It's not to say that we're not going to, keep in mind what's happening not only in Haiti and here on the ground in the US as this administration moves forward with expelling folks. But, we have to have space for celebrating our culture, remembering who we are and where we came from, because we won't know how to move forward without holding on to our ancestry and our culture.
When it comes to hearing about this incident of this woman who died, while she was in custody, what goes through your mind with that, and what are your questions, concerns regarding this incident, and just the bigger, I guess, issues that is connected with all the deportations and so forth, and the folks being detained for X amount of time, and you know.
Yeah, so, my concerns really are ho- in the interim, or in the meanwhile, while the Trump administration is looking to expel folks and deport folks, I'm trying to feel out, where is the humanity in the midst of all of this, really, because you know they have an agenda that they're trying to achieve, but in the middle of their agenda, people are still human. People are still who they are, with their um medical issues, with their mental health issues, with whatever's going on with them and their family members. So I understand they have an agenda to achieve. My agenda is to support my community, and I'm here to just support the community when it comes to the resources that they need in order to move forward. And I just hope that in the middle of this, that's what this administration will remember, that folks are human and we still have our issues. You're deporting this person, sorry, not deporting, but you're in the middle of transporting this person back and forth from this facility to that facility. This young woman, this lady, Maya Younge Blaze, she was transported back and forth from facility to facility. Was her condition, was her state, whatever situation she was in, was that taken into account as they flipped back and forth between facilities before she passed this, in an untimely manner? I really wish that as the Trump administration moves forward and they're saying, these people need to get out of here, they need to move here. Remember that, as a nation, a lot of us are Christian. And at the base of being a Christian, we have to be kind to people. We have to, extend grace, extend mercy in the middle of immigrants coming to this country, because they are the backbone of America.
When it comes to this specific incident, what have you heard from, members, the community, and so forth? What has been like the outcry, I guess, or, once this happened?
I mean, it's hard, I really feel a sense of, from the community, a sense of numbness, you know. And I don't want to say we're nonchalant in any way, but we are becoming numb, mainly because we're receiving a lot of information from the homeland, from Haiti, boots on the ground. A lot of folks are experiencing fear, and they're fearful of their family members being kidnapped, being attacked by these gang members. And then there are folks who are.
And that is the full interview with Jesse Pierre did with a community leader within the Haitian community here in Charlotte regarding a Haitian woman who died while in ICE custody. We wanted to shift away to that to bring you a bit of breaking news that's happening live right now. This is out of LA. So what you're watching right now is a police chase in Ventura County, there near LA. We want to take you there and join you in progress with their live coverage, NBC4 in LA. Let's listen in.
Yeah, I'm counting, I think 4 units we can see out the window, and they're trailing quite a ways behind this black SUV. We do have new confirmed information now about the want, about what this pursuit was initiated over. This is a theft suspect behind the wheel of this black Honda Pilot, this black SUV currently headed eastbound on the 210. And Annabelle, I'm going to toss it back to you at the desk. We've got some housekeeping up here we have to do just to maintain this signal as this driver takes us through the Sunland Tujunga area, now going over 100 miles per hour still. Hey, get out of it. You're going to average 3 miles, coming out for about 30, 40 miles.
Esta camioneta que al parecer está siendo manejada por una persona sospechosa de robo y cómo cambia de un carril a otro sin poner la direccional, sin cambiar de luces. Miren nada más cómo casi que roza con algunos vehículos. ¡Wow! Un autobús escolar y pasó de frente y a una alta velocidad, a más de 90 millas por hora. La velocidad más bajita en la que esta persona ha estado manejando es como de 87 millas por hora. Miren nada más. Qué impresionante cómo pasa al lado de estos vehículos, de estos conductores, de estos camiones. Y las personas en realidad no saben que esto es una persecución policial, quizá no ven a la policía detrás, la policía se quedó quizá un poco más atrás porque no pueden.
All right, so you were watching live a car chase, a police chase through Ventura County in the LA area, Los Angeles area. We're going to try to get you an English feed for that chase. Again, let me pull up the latest information. We don't have a lot of information, just to be transparent with you, but this is what we know. Authorities are chasing a car in the Thousand Oaks area of Ventura County. It started this morning. It's about 11 o'clock there on the West Coast in LA. But again, that chase is happening right now. We're good. Okay, so we want to send you back to NBC4 LA's coverage right now.
A light during traffic coverage on mornings, but look at how this driver is moving, still 100 miles per hour. I guess the silver lining there, aside from just being on a clear freeway here, is that he is bound to run out of fuel soon. Again, this started in Ventura County, so this has been going on for about 30 or 40 miles now, but only about 20 minutes because that is just how fast he has been driving for as long as we have been. Oh, look at that, just crashed into the back of that truck. Oh, look at that damage. This is spinning out now on the eastbound 210. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. Okay, this is coming to a stop now, and I'm going to stay wide on this. We don't know the condition of this driver. We don't know how injured he might be. We don't know if there were any passengers there, but the entire driver's side of this black SUV is just wrecked. And that truck that it hit on the eastbound 210, that truck is still moving, doesn't look badly damaged, tells me that driver of whoever might be in that black SUV. CHP officers getting out now, guns drawn. Oh my goodness.
Wow, that was a traumatic crash there. I mean, for any
All right, so we wanted to go away from that. You just saw that dramatic crash right there on your screen, a car flying down the highway. What highway was that, Jeb?
Looks like they were
110, the I-210.
Okay, the I-210 there, flying down there, eastbound. And we wanted to pull away because, again, that was a dramatic crash. But then, too, we saw officers get out, guns drawn. So we just wanted to make sure.
Making the arrest, no one's going to get shot.
Okay, so they're making an arrest. Do we want to go back to that?
Sure.
Okay, let's go back to it. Just wanted to make sure. So let's go back to it. It looks like they're making an arrest right now. Let's listen in to the coverage.
The tire marks on the roadway behind this vehicle where it came to a stop, but I'm going to stay wide. You can see CHP officers. There are 5 of them right now checking out this car. And I'm going to zoom out more here. I've got the booth talking to me. I think they have more information about what exactly transpired. You see the Ventura County Sheriff's helicopter flying through our shot. They have been over this chase since it started. And again, it was a theft suspect in this black Honda Pilot that was being pursued by CHP. It was eastbound on the 118 before it got on the 210. And you can see traffic has come to a complete standstill here in Pasadena on the 210 East. This is likely going to take quite some time to clean up. So if you're headed east, you do not want to take the 210 freeway right now.
All right, so let's talk about alternatives here, Julia, for all of these people that are going to be stuck here for, gosh, I'm at least thinking at least an hour here, but what would be an alternative?
Yeah, your best bet right now is going to be Foothill Boulevard. I'm glancing out the window of News Chopper 4. That looks clear right now. This is going to be just west of the 2. This is Pasadena heading into the Glendale area. You can take Montrose. That's going to be south of the 210, or again, Foothill Boulevard north of here. That looks clear as well. And if you are stuck in this backup right now, it does not look like CHP is rerouting anyone onto the off-ramp because that's where this crash just happened. That's where this SUV spun out, and you can see the truck it hit. That orange truck is now stopped in the Gore Point. We did see that moving for quite some time after this crash, so the truck driver looks to be okay. It doesn't look like any other vehicles were involved, but I'm going to zoom in on this lighter colored sedan that stopped in the Gore Point as well. I'm not sure if any debris from this crash might have hit this car, but another civilian vehicle here, and we are just waiting for information from CHP about what is happening on the ground. But again, staying wide because we got a peek at what's happening down there, and I'm seeing, Annabelle, a pool of red.
Julia, we were all watching. That was a traumatic crash for any of those drivers who experienced that.
All right, so we want to pull away from that coverage again. A police chase there through Ventura County in the LA area has ended after a crash there. Again, we just wanted to pull away just in case. We don't know. Again, that was a live look as that chase ended. All right, so do we want to go back to? Okay, yeah. Let's reset right now. So we are just past the top of the hour. It is 2:06 here on this stream. A busy day, as I always promise. And look, I'd say busy day. It's going to be a busy weekend. We have a lot going on in Charlotte this weekend. We have Love and Life Festival. We have Kendrick Lamar and SZA tomorrow night. We have the Strawberry Festival today and tomorrow. And everything in between. It's a lot going on here in the Charlotte area. And so we want to make sure that you're safe, especially with the weather. We're a weather alert tomorrow. So here's Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich with a look at this weekend's forecast.
Hey everybody, Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich here. Big weekend of outdoor activities, and we have active weather. But here's the thing. I'm going to lay out everything. I want you to be weather aware and prepared for storms, but also I want you to know there's nothing in the forecast that is going to wash out the entire weekend or have you cancel plans completely. We're in that summer pattern right now. Pop-up storms, scattered storms that last 30, 40 minutes at a time, and then they're done. So this is not one of those things where it's a giant storm system that takes over the whole area all day long. So I just want to lay that out there because oftentimes I see people say, should I cancel my plans for a 40, 50, 60% chance of rain? When that chance of rain is just telling you the chance of a pop-up storm at some point during the day. So just want to lay that out there. We'll get into the details. Use this information to make your decisions accordingly. So what's happening today? Really not a lot. Today looks a lot like yesterday. We've got mostly sunny skies over us. We are watching a cluster of showers to the west, but actually this thunderstorm warnings, because we've got some warnings with that system and likely going to see a severe thunderstorm watch or tornado watch over in Tennessee. This is what we're watching for tonight. Will this cluster make it east. There's a lot of indications it will fall apart, but it's one of those things you can't write it off. But when that arrives, that would be late tonight into the overnight hours. I'm going to turn off the satellite radar. We'll turn off all the watches and warnings, and we're going to show you the severe weather outlook today, which I don't necessarily agree with, and I'll just be straightforward there. Now, I agree with this to the west, but for us, you see this low risk. This is kind of a catch-all. In case those storms try to make a run at us tonight, we might see some gusty winds, but I actually don't think this is going to end up verifying today. So it's nothing to happen today. Tomorrow, the risk, again, for our area is generally low. Yeah, there's a low risk. It's a 5% chance, but severe weather is not a major concern. And when I say severe, large hail, tornadoes, and damaging winds. Can't rule it out. Again, 5% chance. The bigger issue is lightning. Lightning, lightning, lightning. There's no severe criteria for lightning, but lightning is an issue that we have to worry about because that is going to affect your outdoor plans. So let's get right to the forecast. All right, so let's dive into the forecast. I'm going to start with not futurecast, but the upper level pattern, because I want to show you how complicated the forecast is and why there is a lot of uncertainty, and there's been so much change to the forecast this week. We've had this upper trough coming in, and there's indications that it's going to split off and become what we call a cutoff low. You see this area in blue? This is a piece of energy that essentially breaks off from the jet stream and gets trapped. There's another one here, and we're basically getting this omega blocking configuration. The Greek letter omega, if you're familiar with that, that's what you're seeing right there. Whoops, I don't know why that happened. We'll delete that out of the way. That Greek letter omega is showing up there. That is an indication of a pattern that's stagnant or not moving. And forecast guidance and modeling is really difficult with things that don't move and are stagnant. No matter how great AI is or forecasting technology, when things aren't moving, when you don't have numbers to calculate forward speeds and motion, the models tend to get freaked out a little bit. And that's actually a good indication. When you see that, that tells you we're in a stagnant or stalled pattern. Think about your GPS in your car. If your car is not moving and you put in a destination, it doesn't know when you're going to get there until it has some idea of a forward speed or motion or traffic patterns. In this case, in the atmosphere, when nothing's moving, it's hard to calculate when things are going to happen. So that's why you get a lot of uncertainty in this pattern. And again, this could be a bust forecast. You could end up with a ton of rain if this thing stalls over you, or it could stall a little further north and you get little to no rain. That's why there's so much huge fluctuations in the forecast. So just wanted to show you that in the upper levels because that explains a lot of what's happening with the wacky forecast this week. So let's get back to the futurecast of radar so you can plan. All right, so we'll go to the futurecast, and you honestly have to stay weather aware this weekend because this could change based on things with these storms. So right now, this is the futurecast as of 10 a.m. this morning. On Friday, we'll go through this afternoon. I'm going to stop this around 4 or 5 o'clock. Love and Live Music Festival's going on. People are getting in Uptown. People are getting out of work early. Big cluster of storms. This is what I'll be watching all day. What is this thing going to do tonight? For us, just like yesterday, yeah, there could be an isolated shower storm, but look how scattered and isolated they are. You're talking like 20, 30%. This is by 5:30. This is 6, 7. So Love and Life's going on this evening. Main acts are coming on. Big cluster of storms to the west. That's why that is like the thing I'm watching. You can see that to our west, right? That is what I'm watching. And likely that's going to come in overnight. So this is 8, 16, 9, 10, 11. So we're getting past concert time. Oof, hopefully, fingers crossed, no issues tonight. And I really think 90% chance we're going to be fine tonight. We go into the overnight hours. Here comes that storm system from the west. You could see this is 1 o'clock in the morning. So we could have storms overnight tonight into early Saturday morning. This is 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. You could see that thing falling apart, but still heading our way. We go into Saturday morning. You wake up. This is 7:30 in the morning. Those storms that have moved through, the nice thing about having overnight storms, they tend to use up all the energy and stabilize things, at least temporarily. If the sun comes out Saturday for several hours, then we got to worry about another round. So we'll get to about the middle of the day. This is around 12:18 tomorrow or Saturday afternoon, tomorrow afternoon. You see a couple isolated storms. I don't know how many we'll see because the atmosphere is going to be pretty worked over. It's all going to be about what this thing is doing. So I'm not 100% sure we're going to see anything, but just a heads up, we could see isolated storms in the afternoon Saturday. By the time we get to 3 o'clock, things start ramping back up. We see some scattered storms around the area. And again, this is just one indication where they are right now. They could be anywhere depending on the setup during the afternoon. That's the thing about pop-up storms. It's like looking at water boiling on your stove and trying to figure out where the bubbles are going to form at the bottom of the pot. You just don't know until this gets going. But we know there's going to be some around as we go into the afternoon. More scattered. It really does through time. The main line looks to be in the evening hours. I would say after 8 o'clock is probably our highest chance. But even here, a lot of the guidance is kind of uncertain. How much rain is there going to be? Is it going to be scattered? Is it going to be a big shield of rain? So it's kind of hard to say how much we're going to see with this. So I'll go back to Saturday. We go into the evening hours. The one thing I will tell you, that evening time frame, you see 5, 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow night, there's going to be rain somewhere in here. It's just a matter of where it sets up. And again, rain isn't necessarily the bad thing for these outdoor events. I know you don't want to get wet, but concerts are going to go on if it's raining. They will not go on if there's lightning. Lightning is the concern. That's why I say lightning, lightning, lightning. Just rain is not a big deal. Yeah, you need a poncho. It's not great maybe to sit in or stand in, but the concert's going to go on. If we get lightning, then it's a different story. Same story for the Fort Mill, Strawberry Festival. Rain, not a great thing there, but lightning and severe weather is a major concern for safety. So we go to about 9, 10 o'clock. Things are kind of waning a little bit here, and then the rain comes back. I do think Saturday night is going to be our wettest part of the weekend because by Sunday, there's a real good chance we could get what's called dry slotted. The actual upper low is here, the front is here, and dry air gets pushed in here. And that could really stabilize things for Sunday. So Sunday's looking up. If you had to ask me right now, the worst weather this weekend is going to happen Saturday evening. So plan accordingly. And as you're seeing in all this, it's not raining everywhere all day, right? I mean, today, no issues. Tonight, yeah, we have storms moving in. Saturday during the day, let's say I have a soccer game in the morning. My kids are playing at 11 a.m. Here's 11 a.m. There's some scattered storms around, but there's a lot of areas where nothing's happening. We go into the afternoon. My kids got a game at 4 o'clock. Yes, there's rain possibly somewhere around, but there's a lot of dry areas as well. I think we often focus on where the rain is, but notice there's a lot of areas where there isn't rain. And if your house needs water, you probably notice this more often than anybody. So just be wary of the overall picture. There's a lot going on across the entire region. But you could see at some point Saturday night, those chances ramp up. So we'll keep an eye on it. Stay weather aware Saturday for lightning. I have my radar up and running. We'll keep an eye on lightning threats for Uptown, for Kendrick Lamar, as well as Love and Life Music Festival. I will be posting on social media if there's lightning within 8 miles of the stadium or 6 miles of the festival. Those are the criteria we're using for the weekend. Stay safe, stay weather aware, and we'll have you covered.
Some a really good forecast by Brad. Stuff that you need to know as you prepare for this busy weekend here in the Charlotte area. All right, so we want to get to some news out of South America where they're dealing with the earthquake. So here's what we got. A strong earthquake near Argentina prompts tsunami fears and evacuations in Chile. Now, coastal regions of southern Chile were told to evacuate after a magnitude 7.4 earthquake was recorded on this morning, today, off the coasts of Argentina and Chile, and that's according to the U.S. Geological Survey. Now, the earthquake struck along the Drake Passage, which runs between South America and Antarctica, just before 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Now, the USGS pinpointed the locations at 136 miles south of a town located at the southern tip of Argentina. Again, 7.4 magnitude earthquake rattles South America. This is a look at the map here. So yeah, this is a story that's developing that we are continuing to follow, and and once more information comes in, we will continue to update you here on Live Impact News and on WCNC Charlotte. All right, so we want to shift back now to the Karen Reed trial that is happening right now. Jennifer McCade is back on the stand. She's been on the stand for all day, for quite a while. Took a break yesterday from the trial, but is back on today. They've had a few sidebars here and there throughout the afternoon, but it's back on. Let's listen in.
And when was that?
That was in the morning after we found him.
And had you ever attempted either of those searches before Miss Reed asked you to do that?
No, I didn't.
You were asked questions about the next day when you visited the O'Keefe home. And you read some records. Do you remember those questions?
Yes.
Do you remember going to the O'Keefe home?
I do, yes.
You went with who?
With Carrie and our 2 daughters.
Do you remember how many hours you spent with the O'Keefe family?
I don't remember how many hours, say a few.
Was it over 3 or 4?
Could have been, I'm not sure.
What is the reason that you spend so much time at the O'Keefe home the next day?
We went over to offer support, love, comfort, to be with them.
You weren't avoiding them, were you?
No.
Sustain.
After you left the O'Keefe home and reading the records, I don't know if this is your memory, it was suggested it was 5:12. Do you remember going to Fairview?
I remember driving by Fairview on the way to Mike Lank's.
When you went to Fairview, you asked questions about when you stopped by, whether that meant you went in or were outside. Do you remember whether you went in or were outside?
We never went in.
Have you seen your phone records that there are no calls to your sister when you went by Fairview at that time?
Objection.
I haven't, no.
And when you went by, you were asked about that. In fact, you had been asked about that before, hadn't you? Whether
Yeah.
you stopped by?
Yes.
And Attorney Jackson showed you part of that statement?
Yes.
Did you, when you were saying that's part of the statement, did you read the whole statement to yourself?
I did.
And to put that in completeness, had you, under oath, talked about the fact that you went by that day?
I'm confused by your question.
Okay. May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you.
You were shown page 181 and then 182?
Yes.
And so when you were asked about that before, had you in fact offered under oath that you did go by Fairview?
Yes.
When you stopped by Fairview, according to the questions you were asked, or the records you were asked to read, it was 4 minutes you stopped by Fairview. Does that sound like your memory?
No, I know we drove by, slowed down, and we were looking outside.
Why did you want to go back to the very scene that you had seen that morning?
I think Carrie and I I'm not really sure. I think we just drove down and we.
All right, so your answer is not really sure.
Okay.
Next question.
And then according to the records that were read to you, you went to Detective Lang's house?
Yes.
And you were at that address for about 40 minutes, 50 minutes?
Yes.
You were read or shown certain text messages between you and some of your family.
Yes.
Was that a complete listing of the text messages in order that were on your phone?
I had a lot of text messages with them on my phone, yes.
Were some missing from what you were shown?
I'm not sure.
Okay. You were asked about your...
You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Surdrant. Right there, you're watching live the Karen Reed trial. They're back after a day off yesterday. That is Jennifer McCabe on the stand, a key prosecution witness. She's testifying right now. Up in your right corner is the aftermath after an eruption at the Kilauea volcano in Hawaii. We were tracking this morning. It is out. It was reported to be out a couple of hours ago. And right there on the bottom, there is Florida State's commencement ceremony. Now, one of many. Carlene reminded me that we are in graduation season. And look, this holds a lot of significance because, one, graduation season is marking a new chapter. But for that Florida State community, and even Florida A&M, there was a recent mass shooting that we had here live on Live Impact News, and it has left many people shaken, trying to come to grips to what happened. And so this graduation just comes a few weeks after that shooting there. So both universities are trying to get past that. I say Florida A&M because it's right next door to Florida State University. So this is some positivity for the students and staff there after a very traumatic incident. So that is there on the bottom of your corner. We want to take you back now to the Karen Reed trial that is happening right now. So it looks like there's a sidebar in the Karen Reed trial. So we want to take this full. This is Florida State's commencement ceremony, graduation ceremony that's happening. That's the president of Florida State University. Let's listen in.
These very large pension funds. Ash Williams would be that guy like in real life. That's the guy they come to seek out to try to talk to. He's an important guy. And he's probably going to hit me later for saying that he's an important guy because he's a very humble man. So that fund includes Florida Retirement System, which supported more than 900,000 public employees and retirees. Mr. Williams is widely respected in the world of institutional investing. He's chaired national boards, including the Council on Institutional Investors. He serves on several others, from the Episcopal Diocese of Florida Investment Committee to the FSU Foundation Board of Trustees. His leadership has been recognized with honors like Chief Investment Officer Lifetime Achievement Award and the FSU Morris Torch Award, which celebrates those who uphold the university's tradition. He's guided investment strategies for organizations that serve our communities and helped mentor and advise the next generation of leaders. And I think, when you look around our trustees and leaders at the university, you might find a few people that he's mentored. Maybe even the one sitting right next to him on stage. So Ash is a legend. He's also one of our own. He's a proud graduate of Florida State University with a bachelor's degree in management and MBA. Ash is one of these people that it's just hard to believe that it's one person, because when I came to Florida State, I met Ash Williams. He's incredibly smart. He's incredibly wise, and he's just a really super nice person. And I'm enriched by knowing him, and I'm so happy that he agreed to speak to us here today. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Ash Williams.
Thank you, Mr. President. And after a generous introduction like that, I think we might just call it a day and move on. What do you think? That was very kind. Thank you. Congratulations, Seminoles. Your work has paid off, and you will soon have a degree from the Florida State University, a powerful credential reflecting your wisdom, talent, and initiative. It's time to celebrate that accomplishment and reflect on your success. Go ahead, give yourselves a round of applause. Well done. Enough of that. Let's get on with the next phase of your life and make the passage from school to work. I earned 2 FSU degrees, as the President said, a BS in management in 1976 and an MBA in 1978. My path since then has been a long and winding one, and I would not change one step of it. Most importantly, I would like to recognize and thank my wife, Jan. Without her support and counsel, I would not be where I am today. We're approaching our 44th anniversary this fall and have 3 successful, happy, grown daughters, including 1 Seminole, and 3 wonderful grandkids. Thank you, Jan. After 50 years, yes, 50, I know I look youthful, of work experience, including government service ranging from legislative and executive leadership to financial regulation and pension investing, also commercial asset management and public and private markets, I'd like to share a few thoughts that I hope will support and accelerate your continuing growth and success. Let's start with 5 very simple keys to career success. And given that this is the College of Business, I'm cutting straight to the chase. You guys are all about employment, making a good living, becoming leaders, moving ahead, and hopefully, ultimately, doing the most satisfying thing you could do, which is give back to Florida State University. So, rule 1, truth is your friend. Truth is your friend. Seek it and speak it. Personal integrity is an absolute requirement for long-term success. The foundation for earning trust and responsibility. There is never a wrong time to do the right thing. We're all entitled to our opinions, but there's only one set of facts. Make sure you know your facts. Don't assume, know. Also, know what you don't know and what is unknowable. Ask for help and guidance. You will learn, and those you ask will appreciate your desire to get it right. Think about the best possible source or sources to learn from, and then determine how to reach out and tap their expertise. Rule 2, read, listen, learn, and be a lifetime learner. Curate your news sources to favor legitimacy and diversity of views. Success in business is about facts, not politics. Don't color your own flow of information by sources that follow one doctrine or another. Your job is to find the lamp of truth and hold it up, not to embrace any sort of political doctrine anywhere. The ultimate benefit of well-curated information is gathering superior critical thinking advantage. There are a lot of sources of research out there, and you should avail yourselves of the best and most objective you can find. Read several papers a day, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, the Financial Times, for example, and read additional weekly or monthly publications, Barron's, The Economist, Foreign Affairs, etc., that add depth to your understanding of issues. Broadcast financial news and podcasts should also be part of your daily routine. Bloomberg Daybreak and Surveillance, 2 morning shows, are my go-to exercise track every day. Details and nuances matter, and skilled journalists will bring them to your attention. Social media is no substitute. Books will enlighten you on historic and current matters in greater depth. Audible books are convenient because they travel with you on your phone and can be listened to anytime. By the time you start work each day, after you get your new job that I know you're looking forward to, you should be confident that anyone who asks you anything about a newsworthy event will be provided by you an answer that is informed, complete, thoughtful, and timely. Do not get caught flat-footed. It's not a good look. Rule 3, show up. Take every opportunity to be in the room or otherwise share experiences with colleagues. We are better together and aligned to succeed by supporting each other and fulfilling our individual and collective potential. In the wake of COVID, there was a long period where people didn't want to come into the office, especially younger workers. A number of firms, including J.P. Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Blackstone, BlackRock, said, it's a very simple equation, folks. We make a living by buying assets, improving them, and selling them. We're better together, reasoning, and sharing our creativity. Here's the deal. You want to work here, you show up here, and you get paid. You don't want to work here and don't want to show up, that's fine. I'm sure there's another wonderful home for you. But if you want to stay here, show up. Accept responsibility and outcomes and learn from every experience. You're new, you're learning, you're going to be learning for the rest of your life. You're going to make mistakes. Don't cover them up, don't duck them, learn from them, accept the responsibility, and move on. That will gain you respect, and you will remember the lessons learned. Rule 4, empathize, recognize, and appreciate. Everybody likes to be recognized for what they do and appreciated by others. The success of any enterprise reflects the collective effort of many. Our firm has over 300,000 employees in 60-plus countries. I'll guarantee you every one of those people knows where they work, why, and that they're appreciated. All work has dignity, and those doing it deserve acknowledgement, no matter what that work might be. Let them know that you appreciate their effort as others appreciate yours, and recognize them for it. Take care of yourself. Exercise, good diet, and adequate sleep matter. Physical fitness makes us sharper and more resilient. You've all heard stories about new recruits to investment banking firms and law firms and other things where people sort of end up as in a servile class for their initial years and 20-hour days and all that sort of stuff, and the idea that it's meritorious to push yourself beyond limits of human endurance. That is baloney. It is outright baloney. Do not go down that path. Take care of yourself, or you will end up sick, or you will make bad decisions or technical errors that could have material consequences and may be the end of an otherwise good start to a career. So those, Rule 5. Yeah, that is Rule 5. Take care of yourself. So I want to share another idea with you. Those are the 5 basics of how to succeed in any job. Here's another idea for you. A lot of young people graduate college with a clear anticipation of what they want to be or what industry they want to work in, and they expect there to be a fairly linear path from graduating college to getting a job in the industry they want to be in, at the firm they want to be in, and then moving up the ladder, and, you know, at some point you hope to be division or head of a nation or something like that. That ain't how life works, folks. Opportunity will come to you in 1,000 different ways, and you need to be open to indirect opportunities and how to spot them throughout your career. Let me give you a couple of examples. Within the same organization, there can be completely different and unrelated opportunities that you might be able to move from one to the other after you get into an organization. I think the most important thing you should start with is finding a culture of merit, a culture of integrity, working around people who are the kind of people you can admire and learn from, people with the right moral fiber, people who will lead objectively and speak truth to power. So let me give you an example. A fellow Florida State Seminole, a young man named John Bradley, who I had the pleasure of working with at the Florida State Board of Administration, is today the Senior Investment Officer at the Florida State Board, responsible for the State Board's private equity and venture capital portfolios. He started as an intern at the SBA, and his first duty was to put labels on file boxes. Not exactly exciting, and not exactly what you'd think of as the first rung to a major role on Wall Street. But he did the job and did it well, and when he got done labeling his boxes, he wandered around the building and talked to people and asked every question he could think of to learn about the investment world. Shortly after he finished his internship, an accounting job came open. It was an entry-level accounting job doing reconciliations having to do with the private equity investment portfolio. He wanted to be at the SBA because he knew what an open pathway it would be to the real investment side of the business. So he applied for the entry-level accounting job and he got it. And he did a great job, and he continued making himself known to people who were there, eventually got a job on the investment side in the private equity asset class, and as I said, he's now heading the asset class up. By the way, you might ask, how big a job could that be? Well, he manages $25 billion, that's about 10% of the SBA's assets, and furthermore, his performance over the past decade is in the top quartile of all major investment institutions in the United States. He has a team of 8 professionals, and together they are leading investors, they're innovators, envied by peers around the world. John generously also shares his time and talent serving on the Florida State University Investment Committee. So my point here is find a great organization and get on that ship any way you can. Meet the officers and crew, pay attention, walk around. You might end up doing something else. You might start out peeling potatoes, and you might wind up on the bridge steering the whole.
You're watching Live Impact News on WCNT Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. Right now, you're watching live on the bottom right corner. That is the commencement ceremony at Florida State University just a few weeks after a tragic shooting on that campus. Right above that, in your top right, is the aftermath of an eruption of a volcano in Hawaii. We've been tracking this. The latest has been out for a couple of hours now, but that is a look at the aftermath there. And right there at the center of your screen, near the center of your screen, is the Karen Reed trial. It is back on today. Jennifer McCabe is on the stand. She's been on the stand throughout all day. So let's take you there live. Let's listen in.
I'm going to read one more. 172. And this is from Ms. Roberts to you at 2:13:41 on 129:22. I don't know what to even do. I'm so sorry for both of us. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Number 175. Again to Ms. Roberts, 2:14:15, 129:22. Do you text, I talked to Peggy, I am devastated for them?
Yes.
And did you follow up seconds later at 2:14:56 on 129:22? I am so sick to my stomach.
Yes.
That day, did you have to speak to your children about what happened?
I did, yes.
Was that part of your state of mind that day?
Yes.
I'll allow that.
Number 208 or 207. You receive a text from this number. I don't want to say it out loud, but if you could read it, 207. Do you know who that's from?
I don't.
Okay, we'll move to the next one then. 208, 129:22, 342:06. I've never felt so sick. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Number 210, 433:40, 129:22. You text messaging somebody?
Yes.
Do you know who that is?
I don't, just off of the number.
Okay. And this text message, is this from you to somebody?
Yes.
My mind is racing. I have that awful feeling in my gut like I am about...
I'll allow it. Sent by this witness, allegedly.
My mind is racing. I have that awful feeling in my gut like I am about to puke. Besides seeing the awful image, trying to wrap my head around what happened to him. Is that accurate?
Yes.
.213. This is on 129:22 at 438:20. Do you know who was texting you?
Yes.
Who?
My friend.
Once things settle, you need to talk to someone and process the trauma. And then 214, you respond, 129:22, 440:38. I have been shaking since this a.m. I feel so sick. Everything started to be a blur and all run into each other.
Yes.
And this is at 440:38 at 129:22?
Yes.
And during that day, you've spoken to law enforcement?
Yes.
And the days that follow? I'm going to move to 129:22, 752. If you look at number 289, please.
Okay.
At 289, is this a text from your sister, Nicole?
Yes.
Any update? Is that accurate?
Yes.
And you were shown this text at 2:92,
Yes.
and you texted your sister, Kerry talked to cops, kept it simple?
Yes.
What did you mean by that?
I mean, the cops had gone to her house, but she had had a long day and been drinking some wine, so she said she just made it quick.
And you were sharing that with your sister?
Yes.
And was your sister part of many of these texts as part of your support group?
Yes.
Did anybody tell you that you shouldn't rely on your family and have a conversation about what you went through?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
No, no one did.
And during that text time, the one I just read to you was at 7:54:38. If you turn to 296, 129:22 at 7:56:50. Did your sister text you, okay, try get some sleep, talk tomorrow?
Yes.
And did you text back at 7:57? Yes, but don't feel pressure?
Yes.
And the next one, 298 at 7:57:07, was your sister asking you for any updates?
Yes.
And at 7:57:13, did she text you, I love you, don't beat yourself up, you did the best you could?
Yes.
And just a few minutes later, one at number 308, please, 129:22 at 8:01 p.m. Did your sister again write to you, okay, text me in the AM if you hear anything later?
Yes.
And you continued texting with her?
Yes.
Okay. You were asked about timeline?
Yes.
If you turn to number 761, please.
$761.
761, please.
What page is that on?
248?
I'm missing page 248.
You don't have a two-page 48?
No, it stops at 212 and picks up at 253.
May I stand with the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
Can you remind us who asked you to put together a timeline?
Peggy.
Peggy. Okay.
Yes.
2 days later, January 31st, 2022, and this is at 10:26:29 a.m. Are you texting Ms. Roberts?
I am.
I have spent the AM trying to process that he is really gone and try to piece together all the events. Is that part of the process of the timeline?
Yes.
At some point on the 31st, was something happening around Fairview Road that you learned?
I believe there was police presence.
Was there any presence from the media, the press?
Oh, yes, there was.
Was that causing any concern?
I believe I talked to Peggy, and she was...
Assisting.
And so on January 31st, 2022, we're at number 864. You're receiving information. Do you know who this number is that's calling you?
That's my sister,
Which one?
Nicole.
And she's texting you, news people came by and knocked on the door again. They're all leaving now, Peggy and them left about 15 minutes ago.
Yes.
And then at 1 o'clock 18 seconds on 1:32:22. You text back, did you answer the door?
Correct.
Was this part of your state of mind on the 31st, what was going on around the house?
Yes.
Just a few more. In trying to recount for people who asked you that morning and over the next couple days, some of what's reflected in those text messages, was that part of your state of mind?
Yes.
Was it in any way affecting the way you were remembering and thinking about what had happened?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Yes.
Your Honor, subject to redactions, I would seek to introduce all of Ms. McCabe's text messages.
So we'll deal with that. Wait. Is there an objection?
There is.
We'll deal with that later.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Ms. McCabe, a couple of follow-up questions. You indicated on redirect examination that there were no sirens that you heard that morning with the approach of the first responders. Is that right?
I don't believe there was.
But they did have their lights on.
I saw a spotlight, yes, and I do believe they had lights on, yes.
Flashing red and blue lights or red lights, some combination thereof, correct?
Correct.
That was cruisers, police cruisers, correct?
Yes.
There were fire SUVs, in other words, a captain of a fire department.
Possibly.
There were fire trucks and fire engines. You know the difference?
No.
Fire engine, big one with a ladder on it.
Yes.
There was an ambulance, correct?
Yes.
And all of them had their emergency lights on.
Most likely, yes.
All of them had their motors running.
I'm not sure if they were all running. They could have been, yes.
Certainly, you would agree that there was a cacophony of diesel engines and gasoline engines and internal combustion engines that were running right outside of 34 Fairview, although no sirens, correct?
I wouldn't exactly say right outside of 34 Fairview. I'd say there were some right outside of 34 Fairview, but the first vehicle pulled up kind of right just on the right end, and most of the vehicles with the lights on were to the left, so they were actually more in front of 32 Fairview. But there were vehicles. There was Miss Roberts' vehicle, and then I believe another vehicle pulled up. I think I remember from seeing the dash cam.
And Sarah's cruiser, correct?
Yes.
And Mulaney's cruiser, just on the other side of Terry Roberts' vehicle, correct?
Yes, I don't believe lights were on. His lights were on.
And there was an ambulance just to the left and behind Sarah's vehicle, correct?
Yes, which would have been in front of 32 Fairview.
Lights on that as well?
Yes.
All facing in the direction of 34 Fairview, correct?
Facing, but out front of 32.
So is there a reason that you're so resistant to admit that there was a cacophony of sound and noise outside of 34 Fairview?
No.
Okay, so there was, correct?
Outside on the front lawn, yes,
Yeah.
side lawn.
And there was also some people yelling and screaming at a high pitch, right?
Yes.
Both Miss Reed, who was yelling and screaming, correct?
Correct.
And Miss Roberts, who at least at some point told her to shut the fuck up, correct?
Correct.
You were asked about the stop at 30.
You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sertivant. I just want to pop on. You're watching live the Karen Reed trial that is taking place. I just want to let you know there may be some language that may be graphic, explicit. So just wanted to give you a heads up. Again, we want to tune back in. Jennifer McCabe, a key witness for the prosecution, on the stand right now. Let's listen in.
answer from a hearing last year in this courtroom?
Yes.
And you admitted that you stopped, but actually, let me rephrase that. You were confronted with the fact that you stopped at 34 Fairview on the way to Officer Lank's house, Sergeant Lank's house, by me on cross-examination, correct?
Yes, you asked me.
You also indicated that you have never refused to speak to the police, any law enforcement officer in this case, correct?
I've spoken when but asked to, yes.
But in point of fact, when you were approached by the 2 law enforcement agents who were not connected to Massachusetts State Police or to Canton PD, you suspended that interview and refused to answer further questions, correct?
I welcomed them in my house, sat with them, and then I stopped, and then I met with them a few times after, and I answered all their questions that they asked. I helped clear up some misconceptions that they had been told, and as you know, I know they're no longer investigating, so I think I helped them well.
And you're obviously well aware that in that first interview, you stopped the interview cold and refused to answer further questions, correct?
I said I'm going to stop, and I'm going to seek some counsel, yes.
The text messages. You just read a series of text messages that Mr. Brennan actually read for you, and you agreed with, correct?
Correct.
Were any of the text messages that you just read in the group chat that I showed you in cross-examination?
I don't believe so. I don't believe so.
And that group chat included you, Brian Albert, Nicole Albert, and Matt McCabe, correct?
Correct.
And that was a private chat among the 4 of you. Is that right?
That's just a chat with them, yes.
You read some text messages to and from Carrie Roberts, correct?
Yes.
You had just met Carrie Roberts. Isn't that right?
Yes.
She's not a McCabe. Is that right?
Correct.
She's not an Albert, correct?
Correct.
You even read some text messages with your minor children, correct?
Just now?
Yeah.
I don't believe any with my children.
Mr. Brennan asked you about a couple of text messages, or at least one text message, with your children. Didn't he?
No, he didn't.
Objection.
She can answer that question. Is that what happened?
Did I misunderstand?
No, I honestly didn't read anything from my children. I think one, I said a friend, another time I didn't know who it was, but I do know my children's phone numbers, and no, it was none of my kids.
Obviously, the kids are not on that group chat, that private group chat that we went over, correct?
Oh, yes, correct. They're not.
Well, let's talk about those unidentified numbers. You said this is a number I don't recognize, and Mr. Brennan read to you a text to that person, correct?
Yes.
Whoever that is, that person's not a McCabe, correct?
They're not correct.
And that person's not an Albert.
They could be. Again, it could have been Chris Albert, Julie. I don't. One of the numbers I didn't recognize because I have everybody in my phone with the name, so I don't recognize every number.
And that person certainly was not in that group chat with you, Brian Albert, Nicole Albert, and Matt McCabe, correct?
Correct.
And then there was a friend. You said this is a friend, and I don't need you to identify the friend. But whoever this unidentified friend is, that friend is not a McCabe and is not an Albert, correct?
Correct.
And that friend was also not in that group chat that we went over in cross-examination. Is that right?
Correct.
These are all people outside of that group, among whom you engaged in the chat that we saw, correct?
Correct.
And that includes Carrie Roberts. She was not included in that group chat where you talked about the case and talked about what she was and wasn't doing with law enforcement, right?
Correct. It was just my sister, my brother-in-law, and husband.
Now, just a moment, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Ms. McCabe, you are all set. Thank you very much.
I'm just giving you that. Thank you.
All right.
I'd like to play a couple of clips, Your Honor.
Yeah, I'd ask you to just wait 10 seconds.
I'm sorry.
All right, you can play them now.
Okay. May I proceed?
Yes.
I'd like to play clip 12, please.
There was a woman who was a mother to kids that were close to John's kids, who lived very close to the outlets. In fact, when Jen was navigating John to the outlets when I was driving, she said it's near Ashley's house. Ashley and John were hooked up prior to John and I dating. There was a woman...
Hold on. Hold on before you play it
We've
again.
already played that one. We don't need to play it again.
Okay.
12A, please.
Two things. Either he's hurt himself and is incapacitated. He could be passed out on someone's couch, which is just weird. We're not on a campus. Everyone lives in their own home with children, or he's sleeping with someone. And there were multiple women in the neighborhood of Fairview that John had been with. And one of them very recently, before I started dating John.
Clip 16, please.
We'll backtrack later. Let's start at 34 Fairview. So, who are you with? Pull up and let us see. I'm with Jen McCabe and Carrie Roberts, and Carrie Roberts is Ford Explorer. And I'm in the back, leaning over the front two seats. Carrie's driving and Jen's in the passenger seat. And I describe this to everyone, so you've probably heard this before, but John looked like a buffalo on the prairie. It was just a lawn and a heat that it wasn't a bush or a hydrant or a dog. It was a weird shaped lump at that time in those elements. And I was looking to find him on the side of the road. I was expecting I'd find him, and
Hey everyone, just wanted to say hello. Colin Mayfield here with Jeb Goldman for the next hour before we hit WCNC News at 4 p.m. with Nick Sturdivant and Jane Monreal. We are obviously following along with the Karen Reed trial. I do believe this is the third day that Jennifer McCabe has been on the stand, a star witness, of course, in the Karen Reed trial. There's been some clashing over a bombshell admission earlier in the week, which is why there's been some back and forth and some clips being played so that the jury and those that are in the courtroom can get a better idea of what's ahead. So we'll go back to this and continue to monitor the situations that we have. Commencement at FSU and then the Kilauea volcano in Hawaii. Sound like there's a little sidebar going on here in the courtroom. Still watching the commencement ceremony at FSU as well. But there's a ton of things to do this weekend. Obviously, Love and Life Festival starts today, goes through the entire weekend. Kendrick Lamar is in town. The Strawberry Festival in Fort Mill. There's really a lot going on, and I know I'm missing some events. I just can't keep them all
in my head. So it's a big forecast as well. And I saw it, I was coming in on 77, some heavy clouds forming already, some dark clouds forming towards the Gastonia area. Have not checked in with Brad yet, but I know that our rain chances do go up as we go into tonight and then to tomorrow. So Chris Mulcahy, who is on the morning show, an amazing weatherman, meteorologist, I should say, that's the correct phrase there, has the concert forecast. Let's go to that. So those folks who are heading out right now, because traffic was awful heading to Uptown, people are probably looking forward to the weather and seeing what that looks like. So we'll go to that now.
I created something that's called our concert cast. So let's bring that up. So this literally is where Love and Life is, but then also this works out because if you focus in after 7 o'clock, we also have the big concert at Bank of America Stadium. So this model right here is called the HRRR, so the High Resolution Rapid Refresh. All you have to need to know is this is the one that sometimes can go a little bit more aggressive, but it also is the one that rapidly updates every single hour. So let's go through it. So this one right here, as most of them do, shows that this evening, and I'm going to bring up things, Benson Boone, 8 to 9. Wow. Right now, nothing. Again, there's only one that shows that storm. So there's the outside chance. If that happens, we're unlucky, and then we're going to buy lottery tickets, and we're going to have a better Saturday. Gwen Stefani, you saw a little blip of green. Here, I'm going to go back. So you see how quick, see how close it is? So it's going to be close. There's going to be storms in the area. There's going to be rain in the area, but we'll see how it is. Hopefully Gwen's going to do her magic. But then overnight, rain's going to move in. So I think regardless, you're going to have rain after 11. It looks like it's close to about that midnight, so it's going to be a close call. Hey, there was some rain during Stevie Nicks last year to actually enhance things. So you could have a wet start to the day, but then once you restart Love and Life on Saturday, this is the big question mark. Where are those storms going to be? So Petey Pablo,
North Carolina.
Yeah, shout out. But here's the deal. I'm going to try to slow things down as much as possible because it happens so fast because we're zoomed in so much. Notice, let me see, 3:15. Boom, there it is.
Oh,
see,
that doesn't look
I'm saying it's going to rain. I'm very confident it's going to rain. I'm just over here just trying to dodge these storms. So there's going to be some of the earlier acts that are going to be disappointed. This is torrential downpours. This is, you know, the way that the seats are. If you have one of these when anything's happening, like water's going to be filling up areas of the streets. Drains overwhelmed for the brief period. Now, luckily, I think there's going to be some breaks in between. So it depends. That could be shifting an hour. We're still talking about over a day out here, but you have on and off rain, on and off rain. There is a chance that we could break things up. Here's that little lull I was talking about. So this brings us up to ludicrous time, but what moves right back? Another potential shower or storm, but we could open things back up for Weezer before you have even more widespread rain that really starts to take over through the overnight. So maybe that didn't help, but hey, Penelope Road, haven't heard of this band or person, but it looks to be clear and everything else is clear after that for Sunday.
I mean, yeah, it's 50 plus acts out there. They're going to be affected in vans and the like, so it's going to be tough.
What angers me is that literally we've been praying for rain because of this drought status, and then it was like, okay, let's do it all at once when we have probably the biggest acts here in Charlotte for the year. So I hope things change. This is the one time that I have to say, haha, Chris, you were wrong. Bad job.
Right.
But yeah, no, it's not looking good. You saw that. I literally just showed you in the time that I've been talking 4 different models, and all of them say one thing: it's gonna rain.
Well, there you have it, folks. It is going to rain. I guess the timing still up to coordination and to see where. But hey, perfect time to download the WCNC Charlotte mobile app. We have an expert radar that is updated by our meteorologists here at WCNC, and you can see exactly where you are to your specific location as to where that radar might be and where that storm could be passing over. So right now in the Karen retrial, we have an expert, for our forensic expert, on the stand right now giving testimony. So some interesting stuff being told here. Let's go to this now.
Yes, there is.
And can you describe that for the jury, please?
As part of our accreditation, analysts are required to participate in continuing education at least once per year as they continue to work in their role. Continuing education can consist of participating in workshops or webinars, attending conferences or meetings, or documenting ongoing literature review of new journal articles as they're published.
What is proficiency testing?
Proficiency testing is something that we utilize in the laboratory to assess processes and competencies of an individual, as well as the processes that are in place for a particular unit or department or scope of testing. Proficiency testing is also an accreditation requirement. Individuals are required by our internal processes to participate in proficiency testing at least once per year as sort of an ongoing assessment. And what a proficiency test is materials that are purchased by the laboratory from a third-party vendor. Those materials are analyzed as if they were casework, but there are expected results or known results for those samples. Once the laboratory processes those samples, just like their casework, we submit the results to the external vendor that we purchase the materials from. The results are compared to the expected results, and we have to have our results meet those expected results in order for the proficiency test to be considered successful.
Now, over the course of your years at the lab, have you undergone proficiency testing?
Yes, I have.
And have you passed each of those respective proficiency tests that you've taken?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Now, is the State Police Lab accredited?
Yes, it is.
And by whom?
The Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab is currently accredited by the American National Standards Institute National Accreditation Board.
And what does that accreditation process consist of?
The accreditation process consists of on-site assessments as well as remote or virtual assessments to evaluate our policies and procedures, our personnel, our management, as well as our facilities to ensure that we are meeting established accreditation standards. The standards that we're currently accredited to is an international standard 17025 with additional requirements for forensic testing laboratories. And so there are folks that come from that organization, ANAB, that come to evaluate all of those different aspects of our processes to ensure that we are meeting the standards set out in their requirements.
And the State Police Lab, in particular, the toxicology unit within that lab, is that accreditation up to date at this point?
Yes, we're currently accredited to that standard.
Now, just in general terms, Ms. Knowles, if you could explain to the jury, what is forensic science?
Forensic science generally is the application of science to questions of law.
And just again, in sort of general terms, if you could explain to the jury, what is toxicology?
Toxicology generally is a study of chemicals and other substances and how they impact a living organism or a person.
Now, asking a little more specifically, what is forensic toxicology?
Forensic toxicology is generally looking at drugs and alcohol in the human body and how it affects the individual and applying chemistry and other disciplines to measure the concentration or determine the presence or absence of relevant substances.
Are there different types of alcohol?
Yes, there are.
Okay. And what are those types?
Generally, alcohols are a family or a group of drugs or chemicals that have a specific functional group or a specific structure. The types of alcohols that are analyzed in the laboratory that I work include methanol, ethanol, and isopropanol.
And what are the differences between those different types?
They all have similar but slightly different structures. Methanol is a solvent. Sometimes it's called wood grain alcohol. Isopropanol is rubbing alcohol or 2-propanol, and that is typically used as a disinfectant. And ethanol is the type of alcohol that we typically are referring to when we talk about alcoholic beverages. It's what's present in those types of liquids.
Now, Ms. Knowles, through your training and experience, are you familiar with a term known as a central nervous system depressant?
Yes, I am.
And can you explain that term to the jury?
Sure. A central nervous system depressant is a drug or a substance that works to slow down the reactions of nerves in your body. It makes nerve cells slower or less likely to respond to stimulus.
Now, is alcohol a central nervous system depressant?
Yes, it is.
And how would that central nervous system depressant affect the human body?
The effects depend on the concentration or the amount that's present in the body. Effects range, depending on that concentration, from slowing reaction time, reducing heart rate or respiration rate in an individual. That slower respiration rate can also result in drowsiness or unconsciousness. Slower reaction time and more limited muscle control can also result in outward appearances like a staggering gait or slurred speech. It can impair balance and motor coordination. Because nerves are responding more slowly, alcohol can also, or ethanol specifically, can impact your brain's ability to form new memories. It can impact your body's ability to perceive and apply critical thinking.
All right, while this is still ongoing, we want to give you guys an update on the French bulldog that we filed a report on. I shouldn't say just one report, a couple of different reports. CMPD gives some updates on the search for, I believe, Julio is the name, Jeb. So this is a new picture of Julio, this cute little French bulldog, but the search is still very active, and it's been nearly a month now after the dog was taken from the owner's vehicle. This happened in North Charlotte. So we told you, I think it was beginning of April, right? Jayla Gittins just been searching for the 6-year-old Julio here that you can see on the screen. So she said that he had her in a Honda Civic. It was just stolen from there. She was trying to load boxes during a move from a North Charlotte apartment. That was on April 6th. And then just this Friday, Charlotte-Mecklenburg police confirming that 2 juvenile suspects were charged in connection with the case. But Julio still has not been located. So obviously not great news in terms of locating the dog. Obviously good news on the police work that's been ongoing in the investigation. So CMPD did say that they recovered her car in the Mallard Creek area. Sorry, I left that detail out. Her Honda Civic was stolen as well with the dog inside. That's a big detail. But CMPD actually, of course, still trying to look and recover Julio. But the primary concern for Julio's owner, right, is just that the dog's okay. So the vehicle did bring her a little bit of relief, she says, Gittins said, but it's taken some unusual turns. Even Gittins has said that she's discovered social media posts that appear to show both her missing car and dog still. So it's been a weird situation. So she's also been, it looks like, reached out certain Instagram accounts that have now since been deleted, but they tried to message her saying that if you want your dog, you can pay me $1,000. If you want your car, you can pay me $2,500. So this has just been a heart-wrenching situation, really, for anyone to have to deal with. So it seems like there's a $2,500 reward to be paid in whatever addition to Crime Stoppers is going to give. But it seems like there is a reward out for this. So it's been an emotional toll for the owner, and something that we have obviously been trying to highlight so certain folks can see. So please take a good look at Julio here, this little Frenchie, if you can. I know there's a lot of Frenchies running around Charlotte, but if you maybe take a screen grab or send this to your friends or family, tell them maybe to download WCNC Plus at the same time, that would be helpful, and share maybe Julio's picture. So I think those of us who have had pets and how close we grow to them, sometimes, we always say we don't deserve dogs, cats, those animals and their love, and truly do feel that, obviously, and I'm sure Julio's owner is without that at this moment. So sad to say, but hopefully we have another good update to pass along over the weeks. Hopefully it doesn't take weeks, but a couple of days from now. Obviously prayers and well wishes could do as well. So let's go back to the Karen retrial. It seems like there's some testifying still going on with this forensic expert.
May I approach again, Your Honor?
Yes.
Yes, sure.
Turning your attention to a previously tabbed portion of those records. It's the 52nd page of those records. Do you recognize that?
Yes, the flagged page is consistent with the portion of the medical records that I had reviewed in preparation for doing the serum conversion calculations for this report.
And those medical records pertain to a Ms. Karen Reed from Good Samaritan Medical Center. Is that correct?
Yes, they do.
And in those records on that 52nd page, what was reported as the defendant's ethanol level?
The results are recorded as an alcohol result with a value of 93 milligrams per deciliter.
And pursuant to those records, at what time was that sample taken from the defendant at the Good Samaritan Medical Center?
The collection time listed on the medical records is January 29th, 2022 at 9:08 a.m.
Now, that recording and a measurement of milligrams per deciliter, is that typical for how you see ethanol measured by hospital labs?
Yes.
And did you conduct the serum conversion for this defendant's reading consistently with how you do in every case that's assigned to you?
Yes.
Now, please explain to the jury how you're able to convert that serum level reading to a blood alcohol concentration.
So the way that the calculation is performed is kind of in two steps. So the results are listed in milligrams per deciliter, which is common in clinical testing. And to convert it to the type of units that are typically used for blood alcohol concentrations, we just divide by 1,000 to get that into the right units. So 93 milligrams per deciliter converts to 0.093 grams per cent. And then to perform the serum conversion, or to get this serum ethanol concentration into what we would estimate to be a blood alcohol concentration, we apply two conversion factors, a low and a high conversion factor, to account for the range that we see in the typical population. I'd mentioned earlier that serum is usually between 13 to 19% higher, so we divide that 0.093 by 1.13 and by 1.19 to get a low and a high blood alcohol concentration for that range.
And those conversion factors that you just mentioned, where do those come from?
The conversion factors come from literature where they've performed experiments similar to how I described. They have individuals that have ingested ethanol. They collect samples from them and test their whole blood and test their serum alcohol concentrations, and then compare them and see what the ratio is between them. The current ratios that are used by the laboratory, the 13 and 19%, those are also consistent with consensus body documents, or sort of industry standards that we utilize and base our protocols upon.
Now, that 13 and 19%, how long have those conversion factors been in place?
There was a consensus body document published in 2024, and so we adjusted the serum conversion factors that had previously been in use to those new published, or those new recommendations in September of 2024.
Now, does the change in conversion factors recently adopted by your lab, does that benefit the patient or the person for whom you're converting the ethanol to blood alcohol concentration? Objection.
I'll allow it.
Does it?
Yeah, the previous factors we used between 12 and 18%. And so when you perform that conversion, it typically ends up with a equivalent or lower blood alcohol concentration. And so it could be interpreted as being favorable to a defendant.
Now, why are they presented in a range?
We don't use just one conversion factor because in the studies that we base our procedures on, it demonstrates that the general population does not have one consistent conversion factor or ratio between their whole blood and their serum alcohol concentrations. And so to ensure that the conversion that we're utilizing applies to most of the general population, we use sort of the extremes of what we see in that literature, like a high and a low, to make sure that our approximation falls, that the true value would fall somewhere in between that low and that high value.
And what did you calculate as a low and a high range for this defendant's blood alcohol concentration from that alcohol reading from the Good Samaritan Medical Center?
So the 93 milligrams per deciliter serum ethanol concentration would convert to between 0.078 and 0.092% or grams percent.
And again, Ms. Knowles, that's at the time that the blood is drawn at approximately 9:08 a.m. on January 29th. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, turning your attention to retrograde extrapolation, can you explain to the jury what a retrograde extrapolation is?
Sure. A retrograde extrapolation is another service that the laboratory offers where it's a calculation that we can perform when we have a alcohol concentration that was measured at a particular time, and it would be helpful or relevant to know what that person's blood alcohol concentration was at some point prior to that sample having been collected. What we're doing with this calculation is taking what we know about how quickly the human body is capable of breaking down alcohol and applying that rate of elimination to the time interval between when the sample was collected and tested and when there might be a particular time of interest, a car accident or some interaction where that person's blood alcohol concentration might be relevant.
And how is that done?
Similar to the range of conversion factors that we were looking at with the serum conversion, we know that the rate of elimination in alcohol in humans varies from person to person. And so based on studies where they're looking at rates of elimination in large groups of people, we know that alcohol can break down at a rate of between 0.010 and 0.025% per hour. And so we take when we're looking at a serum conversion and then being combined with a retrograde, we take the smaller of the serum conversion range and we add that to the slowest.
Got some breaking news that we do want to get to. We'll go back to the Karen Reed trial and the testimony that is ongoing. But CMPD is asking for the public's help in finding a 16-year-old, this missing girl right here. This is Kianya Lane. The Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department Missing Persons Unit, they're conducting this investigation right now into her disappearance. Again, she's 16. This call came in last night at 7 o'clock. But now we're nearly almost 24 hours into this. So we were told that she was last seen leaving the magistrate office going towards East 3rd Street and McDowell Street. So interesting there. She's described as being 5'1", 104 pounds. She's got black hair and brown eyes. She was last seen wearing blue sweatpants, a black short sleeve shirt, black Crocs, and no socks. She had 2 ponytails on the top of her head and had a blue and green blanket wrapped around her. So a very specific set of details right there. And obviously, sometimes we don't necessarily know where these folks were last seen. It's very interesting to see that she was leaving the magistrate's office going towards East 3rd Street and McDowell Street. I'm guessing that's in Uptown. But I have not, I guess, looked at those coordinates. So I don't want to assume that. But interesting, as I'm guessing a lot of folks would have been around at that time. The sun doesn't go down until after 8 o'clock. So hopefully anyone who has seen Miss Lane can give police a call. You're asked to call 911 immediately. So we'll continue to throw her picture up and toss back to to this throughout the next 30 minutes or so, and I'm sure we'll have this at the top or close to it at the 4 o'clock show with Nick Sturdivant and Jane Monreal. But yes, CMPD looking for this missing girl at this time. So please take a look and be on the lookout for her. We'll go back to the Karen retrial now.
Alcohol at that point. And we also know that this simple rate of elimination calculation can't be accurately modeled once we get down below between 0.02 and 0.03. So we have to make sure that the starting blood alcohol concentration is at least an 0.3 or higher in order to be able to apply that math.
Now, how is it that alcohol is metabolized within the body?
Generally, after someone stops drinking alcohol, their body reaches a maximum blood alcohol concentration, and then after that maximum is reached, for most folks, that's between 30 and 90 minutes after they stop drinking. And then the body breaks the alcohol down over time in a very predictable, linear fashion, down until it gets down into about 0.02 and 0.03. The mechanism that the body uses to metabolize, some alcohol is excreted in urine, some alcohol is evaporated and removed from the body through your breath, but the vast majority is broken down with enzymes in your body that convert the ethanol structure into water and carbon dioxide.
What are the phases of metabolism for alcohol in the body?
So alcohol, once it's ingested, moves through the body in a couple of different phases. One, initially, the body is absorbing alcohol. Then the alcohol is distributed throughout the body where it can have its effects. There's the metabolism phase, and then elimination. Most drugs and alcohol all kind of follow that same pattern in these different phases. And so I'd mentioned elimination phase earlier. That's after you've reached a maximum blood alcohol concentration, and your body is no longer absorbing. It's fully distributed in your body, and then you're just breaking it down and your body's removing the alcohol or the ethanol from your system.
Now, in a retrograde analysis, are you calculating for a single number or something else?
So because we don't know an individual's particular rate of elimination, we use a maximum and a minimum, a fast and a slow elimination rate. And so our results for this calculation are always expressed in a range to ensure that that individual's actual blood alcohol concentration lies somewhere between the range that we provide.
And can you please explain sort of that range and the size of it for the jury?
The range that's provided as part of these calculations, the size of the range depends on the facts of the case and the amount of time that's passed between the time of the incident and the time of the sample collection. The more time that's elapsed, there's a greater difference between the faster and the slower rates of elimination, the 0.01 per hour and the 0.025 per hour.
And what do those minimum and maximum blood alcohol concentration numbers signify?
They signify the smallest and the largest concentration that could be reasonably expected based on the blood alcohol concentration and the rates of elimination that are being applied in the calculation.
Now, were you able to perform a retrograde analysis from this defendant's alcohol blood testing from the Good Samaritan?
Yes, I was.
And similarly, did you perform that in conformity with how you performed prior retrograde extrapolation analyses in other cases?
Yes, I did.
And what time was utilized in your analysis as the time of vehicle operation or of incident?
12:45 a.m., January 29th, 2022.
And do you know where that time came from?
I believe it was the time specified in the request from the district attorney's office.
And why is time of operation or time of incident important?
Because the time interval that we use in the calculation depends on the starting and the ending point of that calculation. So the time of incident is important because that's what we're basing the math on.
And what was the resulting minimum and maximum numbers that you calculated for the defendant's blood alcohol concentration from her blood testing reading from the Good Samaritan Medical Center?
That based on the 93 milligrams per deciliter value that was obtained at Good Samaritan, that the blood alcohol concentration for that individual at 12:45 a.m. Could be between 0.14 and 0.28 grams per cent.
And so you calculated the defendant's blood alcohol concentration to be between 0.14 and 0.28 at 12:45 a.m. on January 29th, 2022. Is that correct?
Yes.
May I approach just to retrieve, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. I have no further questions.
All right. Mr. Giannetti?
Thank you, Your Honor.
And at this point, I'm only going to give you about 5 minutes.
I was going to ask the court to cut me off so that
Okay.
nobody's late today.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
The Mass State Police Crime Lab you mentioned is an accredited forensic lab, correct?
That's correct.
That means that your lab has met specific internationally recognized standards for both quality and competence, correct?
There are aspects of quality and analyst competence that are addressed in the accreditation standards, yes.
It also means that your lab has demonstrated a commitment to best practices and to ensuring the reliability and accuracy of its forensic work, correct?
Yes.
And there are several requirements in order to become accredited, right?
Yes.
One of the most important requirements is an independent external review of your lab's quality management system, correct?
Yes, that's definitely one important component of the accreditation process.
That independent external review also evaluates your lab's technical systems, correct?
Yes.
And its procedures?
Yes.
And an external review means that experts from outside your lab come into your lab to review your work, right?
Yes, the review includes the procedures and the operating protocols, and there is some element of case file and specific work review.
Within your lab?
Correct.
And they make sure that you're following established and proper protocols, correct?
Yes.
Now, as a forensic scientist 4,
All right, this will continue to go on. Again, day 8 here on the Karen Reed trial. This forensic scientist still going to deliver testimony. We'll continue to watch this. As I said earlier, though, this is a big weekend. Love and Life Fest takes off tonight. In fact, there was a heavy traffic jam on 77 northbound because everybody was heading into Uptown ahead of tonight's festival. I'm just guessing, but it looks like a lot of folks are excited for that. Got some great headliners this year as well, but safety, as it was last year, especially after we had that officer ambush, it was just 1 or 2 or 3 days after we had that, safety was a top priority for the city at that point in time, and it still is when these festivals happen. So they are going to give a game plan. The mayor, along with city leaders a little bit earlier, giving the Love and Life protection plan. So let's go to this now.
Good morning, and thank you for coming out today. We are gearing up for a huge weekend, and Uptown Charlotte will be buzzing with energy, excitement, and entertainment. And that's just the beginning. We're thrilled to welcome the Loving Life Music Festival to the heart of our city for its second year, a celebration of music, culture, and community that's sure to be unforgettable. We've got the Charlotte Knights at the field at Truist Field, and just a few blocks away, Kendrick Lamar will be taking the stage at Bank of America Stadium, bringing fans from near to far as a part of this great experience of what he does and the way that he performs. This is an incredible lineup of events that show that what we already know. Charlotte has become a true destination for music, sports, and culture. Because of the hard work being done by City of Charlotte employees and all of our partners. Your hard work helps to keep people safe and to showcase our city to the world. So to our residents, visitors, partners, thank you for making Charlotte the place to be this weekend. Let's have a great time, let's stay safe, and keep showing the world what makes our city so special. Thank you very much for having you today to understand this and to communicate it to our citizens. And now we are going to hear from Deputy Chief of Special Operations, Jacqueline Briley. Jacqueline, take the mic.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. I'm Deputy Chief Jackie Briley. I'm over the Special Services Group at the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. Our Special Events Division is a key component of overseeing public safety at events like Love and Life. Thank you to everyone joining us remotely. CMPD will also is excited to welcome the thousands of visitors who will be in Uptown for the festival. We want to assure everyone that safety remains our top priority as we are building upon a successful security measures and implemented from last year's inaugural event. Our team is highly trained in supporting large-scale events as we have done previously. We've established a comprehensive staffing model that covers both the interior and the exterior of this event to include traffic and road closures. Our command center will be fully operational and staffed throughout the 3 days to ensure we have continuous monitoring and an effective response. We encourage our citizens to proactively approach any of our officers with any safety concerns that they may observe or be a part of. All 911 calls related to this event will be promptly dispatched and addressed as we have a dedicated dispatcher all 3 days to this event singularly. As for road closures, 7th Street and 8th Street between Brevard and Cotwell will close on Tuesday night. That's tomorrow. The CMPD will implement all other necessary road closures uptown prior to the concert starting on May 1st at 9 a.m. Roads in the immediate vicinity of the festival site will close, and the majority of the roadways will return to normal operation on Tuesday, May 6th, prior to morning rush hour. A detailed list of the road closure information will be available on our MyCMPD app and all of our social media channels associated with CMPD. We appreciate everyone's understanding and request patience, and as an increase of pedestrian and vehicle traffic. So please plan accordingly if you are coming uptown and not attending the festival. Pedestrians are advised to allow for extra travel time, and we encourage all attendees to the festival to use their website for different policies and procedures and frequently asked questions. A designated rideshare pickup is also located at 14 North College Street. That is just past the United Presbyterian Church. Again, this information will be on all of our CMPD socials and app. For those planning to drive for safety and security, remember, do not bring valuables and leave them in your vehicle. Make sure to lock your doors and remember where you park. We look forward to everyone visiting Uptown to enjoy this experience safely and responsibly. Thank you. I'll hand it over to CAT CEO.
Good morning, everyone. I'm CAT CEO Brent Cagle. So at CATS, we're excited to be supporting and working with, for the second year in a row, Love and Life Music Festival. We do expect a large percentage of the festival goers to be using CAT services as they're getting to and from this wonderful 3-day event. We'll echo the words of CMPD, vibrant activities, a lot of activities downtown this weekend. the festival, other concerts, sporting events, so we know that there will be crowds and it will be difficult getting in and out. CATS has an answer for those riders. We'll also be promoting through this Thursday a discounted pass for the festival. That pass can be purchased via the CATS Pass app. It is $12 for the 3-day event. That is a significant discount, and it's available through this Thursday. The pass can also be purchased at a discounted rate of $15 on Friday. This compares to our standard daily pass rate of $6.60. During the event, we'll have ambassadors located along the Blue Line to assist riders with any questions that they may have while they're trying to find their way into downtown or uptown, and if they have questions about how our services work. We'll also have additional service capacity supporting the Blue Line with additional trains and frequencies to help with the crowds. And we will, again, for the second year, be running express buses between the main event and J.W. Clay, University City Boulevard, and the I-485 park and rides. At CATS, safety is our #1 priority, and we would highly encourage all riders, if they see something, say something. We've made this very easy. Riders can use the CATS Pass app. The Report a Problem button on the app will allow them to quickly report any issues or activities that they deem need to be reported. Again, all of this comes together as a team effort, and we appreciate everyone working together as we work to support this event. Thank you. With that, I'll introduce Steve Bagwell, CEO of the Charlotte Regional Visitors Authority.
Good morning, everyone. First, I want to thank the mayor and to all of our city community partners for bringing us together today. We're excited to welcome back Love and Life Music Fest, an event that not only brings incredible talent and energy to Uptown, but also gives us a chance to roll out the welcome mat to thousands of visitors. Last year, this festival made a big first impression. With more than 86,000 attendees, over 40 performances, and a sold-out crowd. That kind of response doesn't just say something about the music, it says something about our community. Events like Love and Life are a gateway, a way for people to discover the Queen City, to fall in love with its vibe, its food, its people, and its neighborhoods. Maybe they come for the music, but they leave with a new favorite brunch spot, or a great local coffee shop, or plans to come back with friends and family. That's what the visitor economy is all about, connection. Every hotel stay, every light rail ride, every local business or brewery someone discovers, it all adds up. These weekends bring real impact to the small businesses and hospitality workers who make Charlotte what it is. At the CRVA, our role is to help elevate the visitor experience. So as we get ready for another exciting weekends, I just want to say Charlotte is ready to show off. We're proud of this city. We're proud of the experiences that keep bringing people back to Uptown. So I want to thank everyone who makes this special weekend possible. Let's make it a weekend to remember, and one that keeps Charlotte at the top of people's must-visit lists. Thank you. So with that, I'll welcome Michael Smith, CEO of Center City Partners.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for city staff, fire, and police that make this possible. We couldn't be more excited to welcome Love and Life back for its second year in Uptown Charlotte. What makes Uptown so special is all of the extraordinary events that occur there, only in Uptown. In fact, just weeks ago, we wrapped up a 17-day music, art, food, and idea festival, Charlotte Shout, showcasing hundreds of talented local artists, musicians, chefs, foodies, and thought leaders from around the country, around the world, and around the corner. This next wave of vibrancy begins on May 2nd with Love and Life Music launching Year 2 in First Ward. And once again, Center City Partners and Music Everywhere Charlotte are proud to be sponsors of the Love and Life Music Fest. We know that this is a powerful generator of vibrancy. It brings close to 100,000 music lovers into Uptown and to experience what makes Uptown so special, music is powerful. It has this ability to bring people together, to foster creativity and vibrancy, and drive economic growth. It is a bit of an elixir. We're excited to welcome it back into Uptown Charlotte, and now I'd like to welcome Greg McConnell, our festival director. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm incredibly thankful and proud to be here today ahead of year 2 of Love and Life Music Fest. We're excited to build upon the success of last year's inaugural event and continue building something that is truly special for Charlotte. Last year, Love and Life was honored to be recognized as one of USA Today's top 10 new festivals, and just this year we were named one of Charlotte Magazine's Charlotteans of the Year. Acknowledgements that have put us on a national stage and would not have been possible without the tremendous support, communication, and collaboration of the city agencies represented here today. We organize fests across the country, and I can say with complete confidence the collaboration we've experienced here in Charlotte has been the best we've ever encountered. The partnership between the public and private sectors here is unmatched. The level of teamwork, attention to detail, and shared pride in the city has been outstanding. We want to extend a special thank you to Mayor Lyles, Deputy Chief Briley and the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department, Brent Cagle and the CAT System, Steve Bagwell and CRVA, Michael Smith at Center City Partners, CDOT, Charmec Emergency Management, and all other public safety and operations partners. We'd also like to extend a special thank you to the First Ward neighborhood for being patient with us as we put this event on. Safety remains our #1 priority in every decision we make. The professionalism and proactive leadership from everyone I just mentioned has been critical. Together, we've been able to take the lessons learned from last year, address areas for improvement, and plan an even safer, more seamless festival experience for everyone. I also want to extend a big thank you to the entire city of Charlotte for embracing Love and Life and celebrating everything this incredible city has to offer. The local music community will be strongly represented with 18 bands on our local stage. Over 10 of Charlotte's best restaurants will be featured at the festival. Several amazing local artists, some of them students, will showcase their work throughout the event. And nearly all of Charlotte's sports professional teams are getting involved as well, including the FC, the Hornets, the Knights, the Carolina Ascent, and the Charlotte Checkers. Thanks again to everyone who had a hand in bringing this vision to life. We can't wait to see you all in Uptown at Love and Life Year 2. Thank you. And I'll hand it over to Lawrence Corley.
Thank you all again for joining us. At this time, we'll take questions from our media partners. In addition to the representatives behind me, we have staff in the room with our transportation department, as well as emergency management and fire. We'll take questions at this time. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so talk to us a little bit about maybe some safety challenges that you guys faced last year, or maybe some things you thought you guys did really, really well that you want to implement this year. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Thank you. Good question. Last year, like I said, we learned areas of opportunity where we could grow. As far as safety challenges, I think by us having a very successful event last year on public safety-wise, there wasn't too many changes that we needed to make. Obviously, we did make some changes with road closures and working very closely with residents of First Ward, having one-on-one conversations with folks to make sure that they know that they can get to their businesses and their residents. And so as far as changes from last year, those are probably the biggest changes in being able to have those one-on-one contacts with people to help them get to their residences.
And to add to that, when it comes to there are so many different events going on this weekend, Kendrick Lamar, how do you guys stretch yourselves, or how do you guys manage all of those to make sure everybody's still?
Okay, thank you. Another good question. One of the things we did forecast when we knew these events were coming, one of the things we do internally is we did restrict all single vacation days. So if an officer was scheduled for a day off or an extended vacation, everybody will be working because obviously we are beholden to our public safety and 911 call response. So pretty much if you have a uniform or if you're a detective, you're working this coming weekend, whether or not you're at the stadium, the night stadium, or this event here, as well as answering calls for service.
And this is for Greg. Now, you kind of mentioned kind of similar world of questions, but like, you know, when you talk about the lessons you took from last year and so forth, what are some of those lessons and what are some of the changes that, you know, you guys are, you know?
Well, I feel in regards to safety, but the majority of it was traffic related and how the street closures and making sure we didn't, you know, set up and break down are a big part of this event, and they take time. And we worked it out that we were able to get the streets closed, and that we think we can get everything done, you know, in a safe and timely manner this year.
What about, just to follow up on that, Greg, what about for the festival goers? I know at the first.
Sorry?
For the festival goers, because
Yes.
I know at the first day there were some problems maybe with some water stations and some other things. What have you guys learned from that?
Well, it's, again, along those same lines, we're going to have the streets closed sooner, can get set up more quickly, and we'll have all those things set up. I'm not sure what you mean exactly with the water, but I know we did open a few minutes late last year, and we just had a tough time getting the finishing touches on things, and we've definitely learned that lesson. That's not going to happen to us this year.
Are you expecting a larger crowd this year?
We're going to be in the ballpark. We're a big push in the last few days like we had last year. I think we're going to be pretty similar to where we were last year.
Do you have the exact estimated attendance?
We anticipate there's going to be 20,000 plus in attendance. Yeah.
Also, does anybody know the numbers for the night's games and Kendricks? I'm trying to get an idea of how much it all adds up to, how many people will actually be in Uptown.
I don't know that information.
I don't know what Kendrick is going to do. All I know is I had to get a ticket for my niece, and it was a lot of money. I know.
That data may be available as we see the total numbers after these events.
I just want to ask, Greg, could you clarify, did you say that you were expecting about 20,000 people to
20,000 plus as we push towards the end. Yes.
And last year you guys said it was like 86,000
We were in the mid-20s last year, I think, on average per day.
per day? So
Yes.
you're expecting 20,000 people per day?
Per day, yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Daily. My mistake. That's how we think, is each day, yes.
Okay. I had a question for for Steve. You said that there were about 86,000 people who attended last year. Do you know about how many of those were out-of-towners, and also maybe what the economic impact was? I don't know if you guys had run something on that.
We're working on the study from last year with the officials from Lemon Life, so we'll release that to them to consider putting out publicly. But certainly, music festivals like this, music in venues like Bank of America Stadium, Spectrum Center, are having a huge impact on visitation and economic impact in our community. We see a strong association between festivals like this, concerts, big concerts in our arena, and driving people staying in hotels and visiting our community. We definitely know that association exists and can provide some data on that as well.
And the 86,000 you were mentioning, that was for the entirety of the festival last year?
Yeah, that was for the entirety of the festival, so adding up all people that attended all days.
In terms of hotels, do you guys know what the capacity of hotels are at this point?
I have to get back to you on what they're expecting from an occupancy standpoint, but we expect it to be a strong weekend.
I had another question for Greg. So you said that you guys do a lot of festivals like all around the country.
Yes.
And that Charlotte is particularly great for you guys. I guess what about Charlotte, or what about staging a concert here is different from in other places, and that you guys?
Well, first and foremost, we're based here, so we all live here, and this is our town, and we're very proud to bring this event here. The collaboration that we have with these folks is just amazing, and part of it is because we're here and we can all get together on a regular basis and talk. But I think the police, the fire, the emergency services, everybody has just stepped up. They've shared their knowledge with us and insight, and it just makes for a very seamless planning process. I don't know if seamless is the right word, but a pretty solid planning process.
I have a cat's question. I don't think you said this, are we increasing frequency at all on the line on the Gold Line?
There will be additional vehicles to handle the increased crowds, both on light rail vehicles and with the special event buses taking people to the end of line if they choose to park at any of our park and rides along the Blue Line. So it'll basically be based on demand, and we'll be flexing the schedule to accommodate the crowds as we go through the event.
And also, Brett, did you have to make any changes from last year, looking at demand and so forth? And then is there any numbers as far as, people taking advantage of public transportation when it came to Loving Life and so forth?
Yeah, so we know that post-pandemic special events drive a lot of ridership or heavy ridership, high ridership days. Last year was the same with Love and Life, and we would expect it again this year. Lessons learned, I would say, we had a lot of positive feedback, so we expect folks to be utilizing transit to get into Center City. So one of the lessons learned was getting out ahead of sooner on the discounted passes, and also we had a lot of good feedback about the special buses, the direct or express buses for end of line that seemed to work out very well. A lot of good feedback last year, so we'll be continuing that again this year.
Just one other, I hate to go back to this, but Greg, because I'm doing the math in my head. Reporters are not always the best with math, but it's a 3-day festival, right?
Yes.
So 20,000 people per day would be about 60,000 people. Last year it was 86,000. Are there slower ticket sales?
We're guessing at this point, as things are, like I say, ramping up in the last couple of days. We were in the ballpark of where we are now at this point last year.
Okay.
If that helps. Yeah.
It does. I have a question too for the Deputy Chief. This is sort of a different topic, but tomorrow marks the 1-year anniversary of a shooting of several CPD officers. As I remember, I was here last year, and I think the news broke right after this press conference last year. I'm not sure if you can speak to this, but are there any